When Auto wants to buy your used vehicle and will offer more money than ever to buy it. Bring in your vehicle to any Corwin location and have it appraised. Get an instant offer and walk away with cash on the spot. There has never been a better time to sell your vehicle and get top dollar for it. So let Corwin Auto help stuff your stocking this season. Stop by any of the 4 Corwin Auto locations today.
Homewood Suites wants you to feel at home. This upscale extended stay brand understands that being away from home can be challenging. So Homewood Suites in North Fargo has designed their amenities to make life easier for you. At Homewood, you can relax in a variety of suites with full kitchens, complimentary hot breakfast, outdoor grills, and recreational areas that make stays more familiar. When you need to be away, but you still want to feel like home, choose Homewood Suites by Hilton. Find out more and book a stay at homewoodsuites.com.
Cardinal IG would like to shine the spotlight on their employees celebrating November anniversaries. Peter McCarr, Mustafa Muhammad, and Sean Wenger are all celebrating 5 years. Nathan Poitra, Yam Yak, and Ollie Aiden are all celebrating their first year at Cardinal IG. From the entire team, thank you. Cardinal IG offers competitive pay, outstanding benefits, and an extensive training program. To view open positions or to apply, visit CardinalFargo.com. That's CardinalFargo.com.
Jeremy here at Horsch in Mapleton. Did you know that Horsch manufactures premier planting, seeding, and tillage solutions right here in the FM area? We are proud to be a family-owned business based out of Germany and would love for you to join our team right here in Mapleton. We offer competitive pay, full benefits, and paid family time from Christmas to New Year's. Please visit Horsch.com to view our current openings.
The Bison Hotline postgame show is broadcasting live this year from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo. Come see the Bison 1660 crew live after every NDSU football game and register to win prizes including Bison 1660 t-shirts, tickets to upcoming games, and a whole lot more. Plus, take advantage of the great food and drink specials at Applebee's. Bison Hotline broadcasting live after every NDSU football game from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo, right across from the Fargo Dome. Horns up.
Truck Headquarters. Gateway Chevrolet has new Chevy trucks arriving daily. Buy your new Chevy Silverado at Invoice. Yes, Invoice pricing on new Silverados with a fresh look, new interiors, and larger screens with easy-to-use technology. Save thousands on new Chevy Silverados with 4 different motors available. Dynamic fuel management, Bluetooth, backup camera, Apple CarPlay, and more. Save thousands and enjoy the smooth ride in your new Chevy Silverado from Gateway Chevrolet. Find new roads. Details gatewayfargo.com.
KQWB, West Fargo, Fargo-Moorhead, and KPFX, HD3 Kindred, Bison 1660. Powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
We are Sports. And here's what you need to know.
New research provided by the NFL and the NFLPA shows that there isn't a significant difference in the number of non-contact injuries sustained on artificial turf versus grass. Many players this season have called for an end to artificial turf, but Cowboys owner Jerry Jones says the league has no plans to do so. Colts owner Jim Irsay said the team is not tanking for a higher draft pick, calling the notion, quote, the most absurd thing I've ever heard, end quote. The Steelers signed kicker Matthew Wright to their 53-man roster off the Chiefs practice squad. That means Wright has to be on Pittsburgh's roster for at least 3 games. Starter Chris Boswell is dealing with a groin injury. Bears quarterback Justin Fields named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Bengals running back Joe Mixon, the Offensive Player of the Week in the AFC. And WNBA star Brittany Griner has been sent to a Russian penal colony to begin serving her 9-year sentence.
You've got the insiders.
How you play today, from this moment on, is how you will be remembered.
That's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face.
Bringing you what you need to know and a whole lot more. Topics you care about, guests you know, and the conversations you came to hear. The Insiders are presented by Proseed. Need seed? Think Proseed. Now, here are the Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders. The Insiders.
Insiders.
The Insiders.
Andy Rickoff and Bison great Kyle Emanuel.
Here we go on a hump day Wednesday, middle of the week. I'm all screwed up because I've only been on the show once this week, so my days are a little all over the place, but I believe it is Wednesday. Micah Bindi, our producer, can you confirm?
Yep,
it is Wednesday. Okay, thank you very much.
I didn't know either.
Okay, there we go. Double checking for you, too.
I'm screwed up, too. You know, you get into a routine. Well, we were practicing inside yesterday for Shanley. I mean, it just throws everything off, and it's cloudy out, and the weather is turned.
It's dark in the morning, dark at like 3 p.m.
Still dark right now.
Yeah, everything's a little off, a little herky-jerky.
Yeah, a little weird.
But we get through. We do just fine.
That's right.
Andy Rickoff, Kyle Emanuel, Micah Bindi with you for another edition of The Insiders here on Bison 1660. 2-hour tour of some sports talk on your Wednesday. I like to make the golf analogy. I'll make it now because, well, Kyle Emanuel's a huge golf fan, and he's got the Shanley Golf hat on right now as JV coach, repping the team, the squad. We are making the turn on the back nine of the week. Does that make sense for you?
Oh, yeah, I get all the golf references.
There we go.
Of course
Making the turn
yeah.
back now. What do you do in between? Do you stop in the clubhouse? You get in like a Snickers
It
bar,
always depends.
hot dog?
Just depends.
Depends how the last couple of holes
just
are gone?
keep going. Keep rocking and rolling.
Last time I played with you would have been with our good friend Nick Risbrut, and you were crushing the golf.
It went
ball.
well. And, so
you drove a par 4. Now you still parred the hole.
Yeah, 3-putted.
Yeah.
But it was like a 70-foot putt from downhill, and I was happy with a 3-putt. I almost 4-putted for a bogey. So
and when you were there, I did make a couple of pars, which is great for me. So
that was I golfed out of my mind that day. 2 over through 11, and then I had to leave. I had a meeting, and I was happy to leave because it was a tough par 5 coming up that I was probably going to drive into the water. So
get ahead of the game.
Take what you can. Take the positives and get out. And then I played one more round after that. And I had some opportunities to play a few more before the weather turned and there's no more golf for the year. And I was like, no, I'm going to take this good feeling. I shot like 4 over through 9, which isn't great, but not bad. And I was like, I had 2 good rounds to end the year. I'm going to take that positivity into the offseason and we'll just leave it as it is. And then I'll come back next year and be terrible. But
now we just go into the winter playing on simulators and stuff. And if you do bad there, it's just a simulator. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So you got the good feeling.
Exactly.
Which is good for whatever, May.
Hopefully April, but who knows? Last year was like June, felt like, but late May before you could get back on the course. But whatever.
Yeah, you'll get around to it again.
I know. I'll miss it.
I had a pretty decent year. I liked my year, my career my year-long career there of golf for the year at least.
Is this the first summer like you played a decent
consistently?
Amount?
Yeah. Usually it's like once a month type of thing. I got out like 3-4 times a month for a good stretch there. September, not much at all.
You get out once a week.
Yep.
I mean, that's
good.
That's
and I got to like 7 different golf courses too, so I spread myself out there a little bit. Not just Fargo, but Detroit Lakes.
Yeah, same. I got to play in. I played somewhere. I forget what the name of. Oh, I think it was somewhere by DL. Played over the 4th of July. I played in Montana. Went out there for a wedding. I played Bully Pulpit in Medora, which is awesome. I've played there like 4 times.
Love
and
that course.
It's great. And then I've hit a couple in Moorhead. I think I played Moorhead Country Club. I played Village Green, right? That's over in Moorhead as well.
Of course.
Oxbow. I played Oxbow, Oxbow is a phenomenal course. I can't play that course. I find I lose 10 golf balls minimum every time I play. I always stop keeping score after about hole 3. I'm just like, this is so bad.
Too much in the water?
Oh yeah, yep. Just too many penalty strokes.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you for letting me talk golf.
I wanted to at some point this week. I wanted to make sure we got that in.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything on Live Golf? I haven't really kept tabs much.
No, I haven't seen much. I think it's kind of slowed down. They still hate each other. Yep. Live Golf, PGA Tour, they still don't like each other. I haven't really been keeping up with golf as of late.
If there was a sports hill I would die on, it would be let's do 2 Masters a year.
Yes.
Remember the Masters that was in November?
That was great.
During COVID? It was phenomenal. I loved it. We need one of those again. That's a sports hill I will die on. 2 Masters a year.
While we're talking about golf, we have to mention this. This came out Monday. Me and Chris didn't get to it. At least I don't think we did. The match is back. I believe it's coming up soon, November something. Tiger and Rory versus Spieth and Justin Thomas. Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas versus Tiger and Rory. Just golfers. I love it. I might have to actually tune in. The match is always something that I'm like, that looks good. I want to watch that, and I just never get around to it. I might have to find a way to watch it this time.
Is Charles Barkley commentating at all?
December 10th. December 10th. So
okay,
we got to wait a month.
10th. I thought it was November. Okay, December 10th.
December 10th. That's fine.
I'm ready.
That's like semifinal day.
Is that a Saturday?
At quarterfinal day, I believe.
That's fine.
December 10th. Unless, it depends if they put you on a Friday or a Saturday. But it might not be overlapping time-wise. There's also basketball games that day, too. But
we're good at multitasking over here at 1660.
Okay, on the other point, now I'm just thinking about this, too. Man, November's going to be a really good sneaky sports month, I'm just realizing, because not only do you have all these sports going on, baseball's done, but football, college basketball going on both the men's and women's side, obviously NBA, NHL. The World Cup starts up soon.
Ooh.
Remember? World Cup. I just forgot about that. Now I'm excited again.
The World Cup is in November?
Yeah, I guess it's being played in Qatar or Qatar, however you pronounce the country's name, and it was too hot in the summer. So they're playing at winter time, where it's cooler in that part of the world.
That's like the only time I watch soccer.
Mm-hmm. World Cup season, baby. It starts like Thanksgiving week.
Ooh.
And USA versus England on the 25th of November, Black Friday. USA versus England, because they're in the same pool, the same group. Sneaky good sports month right there. I'm excited more about that. That's great, too.
Is this the first time World Cup's been in November?
Correct, yes. Yeah. Because of where it's being played. So,
right.
And USA's got a good chance to get out of their group. I forget who all is in there, but them and England are heavily favored to be the two that come out of their group.
It was the last World Cup they didn't even qualify for, right?
Haven't been in one in 8 years now. So
wild. They're
back there. Christian Pulisic in the team, the squad. Someone on to talk about the World Cup here maybe in a couple of weeks. Yeah, absolutely.
That's like I don't want to say it rivals the Olympics because obviously it's just the one sport, but that's a huge deal throughout the world.
Oh, that's the biggest sporting event in the world.
Exactly, because soccer is the most popular sport in the world, I believe. And
it's that or cricket switches back and forth.
Cricket, really?
Yeah, really big.
Yeah, we can't just focus on the United States, but that's a gigantic event, and it's. Like I said, that's the only time I ever really watched soccer. I tune into that.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember. Was it 16 years ago? Landon Donovan, Clint Dempsey with the last-second heroics and getting out of the group stage, and I was just sitting there in the basement by myself. They score a goal in extra time, and I started sprinting around the house. I love it. Obviously, I played the game in college and stuff.
The headbutt from Zinedine Zidane.
Yes, the red card headbutt.
That was in the World Cup.
That was classic.
Yeah, that was. Can't forget some of those moments.
Some very good ones. So we'll make sure to be mentioning that as we go on that the USA England game on the 25th. Also, mine and Cole Jurik's birthday, so a little birthday present for me.
There you go.
USA versus England.
What do you be?
Got to get the win there.
22.
Yes, 22. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Still in college on that point. No, 29.
Ooh, the last good one.
Last good one is what I've been told. You got to cherish this one.
Yeah, cherish it
at this point. But looking forward to the show. Going to be a fun one today. We will be talking plenty of NDSU athletics. Obviously, Bison football on the road at Southern Illinois, a team that has everything to play for in the Salukis. They've got to win out to get to the playoffs, and they're coming off a bye. Expect everything plus the kitchen sink and then somebody else's kitchen sink to be thrown at the Bison this week. Mike Reis, their play-by-play voice, will join us at noon today to go over what Southern Illinois has got on tap for the Bison, how they have managed this topsy-turvy, up-and-down roller coaster of a season, and what the Bison should expect when they go out to Carbondale on Saturday for a 1 p.m. kickoff, by the way. 1 p.m. kickoff once again, which means our coverage starts with the Bison Report show. I'm going to say at 7 a.m., and I am correct on that one, as Micah Bindi gives me a little head nod back behind the board today. So 7 a.m. for our coverage with the Bison Report show. 1 p.m. the kickoff, which means our network coverage on the pregame show starts at noon from Carbondale Saluki Stadium. 11:15 coming up here in just a matter of moments. We'll be taking a break because of this. Brian Hanni, play-by-play voice of the Kansas Jayhawks, will join us for football and men's basketball, but obviously NDSU men's basketball with a game at Kansas at Fog Allen coming up tomorrow night. You can listen to that on 107.9 The Fox at 6 p.m. with the Bison Shoot-Around pregame show with our own Micah Bindi. Micah, what's coming up on the Bison Shoot-Around pregame show tomorrow night?
Well, we'll have Josh Jones on the docket, and then we'll be talking about how NDSU fared versus Arizona, my thoughts, more of my thoughts. Did I say Arizona?
I said Arizona.
Well, we can talk about football too, but football's on the brain right now. But Arkansas, they played hard. They stuck with a number 10 team in the country, and now they got another battle. Let's see how they bounce back.
Yep. So Josh Jones, assistant coach, will be on Bison Shoot-Around tomorrow night. We'll have Brian Hanni on here in just a matter of minutes after we take a break here and go over that matchup for the Bison against the Jayhawks, and also maybe a little Kansas football, because Kansas football is like good, like a hot commodity now. And that hasn't been the case for many a year. So get Brian Haney's thoughts on that maybe as well. And we should mention, it is National Signing Day on the basketball front and many other sports as well. So we'll make sure to touch on some of the athletes signing with NDSU. Obviously a big day for a lot of high school athletes not just around the area, but around the country with National Signing Day for many of these winter sport athletes. We'll take a break, though. We'll come back. Brian Hanni, play-by-play voice of the Jayhawks, joins us next here on Hump Day on The Insiders.
Hear the herd here. Bison's 1660.
I think what makes Proceed win is we're different than the other companies in many ways with our programming, our simplicity, our non-corporate attitudes, and our personal relationship building.
What Proceed is, we bring back the old-fashioned seed buying experience. We're true seedsmen. We care about everything from the sale to the planting to following up afterwards. That's what we're all about, is just trying to bring that experience back to a personal level.
Need seed? Think Proceed. Proceed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
Our Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. NDSU football remained in the win column this past Saturday after running over Western Illinois 56-17. 10 different backs combined for 453 yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground. Kobe Johnson rushed for a 47-yard touchdown on the first play from scrimmage for the Bison. Tamarick Williams led the team with 120 yards on 12 carries and 2 touchdowns. TK Marshall logged 118 yards on just 6 carries and also had 2 touchdowns. Code Green had 4 interceptions in the game, including a pick-6 by Marquise Siegel. The Bison improved to 7-2 overall and 5-1 in Missouri Valley Football Conference play. The Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. They have a long history and reputation for quality workmanship and rock-solid pricing. Whether diamond engagement rings, custom jewelry, or repairs, let Brenda and the team at Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry create a legacy for you and your family. The Bison remain on the road to face the Southern Illinois Salukis this Saturday, with kickoff scheduled for 1 p.m.
Just as the Bison are champions on the field, Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty is a champion in real estate. When it comes to buying or selling a home, Todd knows the market and will guide you through the entire process. Choose someone you can trust. Call Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty today at 701-371-4234 or visit him at Beyond Realty, 4832 Amber Valley Parkway in Fargo. Todd is a proud partner and the preferred realtor of NDSU Athletics. Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty. Moving the herd, one home at a time.
We interrupt your music to bring you this breaking news. There's so much to do in Perham, Minnesota.
Explore Minnesota in Perham, Minnesota for fall activities. From hiking, biking, shopping, walking, parks, picnics, restaurants, breweries, live music, golfing, fishing, boating, corn maze, pumpkin picking, and more. Or just listen to the loons next to the campfire. Discover Perham at Perham.com. That's Perham.com.
On the Rocks Craft Cocktails bring natural, refreshing, bar-quality, balanced cocktails to the ready-to-drink category. Natural ingredients, no preservatives. Like the Mai Tai with Carusan Rum, the Margarita with Hornitos Tequila, an Old Fashioned with Knob Creek Bourbon, an Aviation with Larios Gin, or get spicy with a Jalapeno Pineapple Margarita with Tres Generaciones Tequila. Or maybe live it up with the Cosmopolitan with Effin' Vodka. On the Rocks Craft Cocktails. Hard to choose, easy to pour. Please drink responsibly.
Hey, Bison Nation, this is NDSU quarterback Cam Miller.
This one is a keeper by Miller, left side touchdown.
And you're listening to The Insiders on Bison 1660.
Welcome back to The Insiders, a Wednesday edition for you. Andy Rickoff, Kyle Emanuel, Micah Bindial with you. By the way, we're live at Sicky's tomorrow off 45th Street, as we are every Thursday. Thinking about what you want from Sicky's tomorrow yet, Kyle?
I haven't yet, but I will start now.
Are you prepared to rip apart my latest top 15 tomorrow?
I'm always prepared for that.
Okay,
yes.
fair enough.
But
Rob really hasn't this year. He's been too kind to me. So.
Well, even if I think it's a good list, I'll find a way to try and pick it apart.
Oh, you definitely can. This is the time of year where there's a lot of resumes. You can easily argue either way, really.
Early in the year, it's hard. Mm-hmm. 1-0, 2-0.
You can make an argument Sac State should be one, maybe best resume, pretty easily.
I think so.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm not mad about it because I obviously like the Missouri Valley, and I think year in and year out it's the best conference. But you look at the resume, it's hard to argue that. I mean, Sac State could easily, even if they're not ranked number one at the end of the year, they could easily jump to that number one seed.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be shocked.
Undefeated,
and I wouldn't be mad about it either. I think,
FBS win.
Beat a lot of really good teams along the way. They had 3 straight matchups at Montana, Idaho, Weber State, right in a row. Won them all.
They've passed every test to this point.
That's
the biggest
right.
test for them is always, can you win in the playoffs?
Oh,
Haven't done
100%.
that, even when they've been a top 4 seed the last couple of years. By the way, we're with you inside the Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center today. Theraldson Ethanol is a proud partner with Summit Carbon Solutions. they've partnered to make a positive environmental impact by cutting the carbon footprint in half. You can learn more online at ThoroldSonEthanol.com. Let's go over to our Epic Companies hotline right now, the play-by-play voice for Kansas. One Brian Hanni, nice enough to give us some time today. Always appreciate our conversations with Brian. Nice enough to join us right now on the Epic Companies hotline. Brian, thanks for the time. Appreciate you coming on with us. How are things down there in Lawrence?
Hey, life is good. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate the platform. We're enjoying, obviously, defending national champions in hoops, but finally got some college football to be excited about, too, after a 14-year bowl drought. Lance Leipold has the Jayhawks bowling again here in 2022. So good time to be a Jayhawk, no doubt, and certainly looking forward to Thursday night with the Bison.
Yeah, always looking forward to this. And NDSU's matched up with Kansas a number of times on the hardwood over the last handful of years. What do you think is the reason for that? I know Kansas also just played Omaha, another team in the Summit League. What do you think is the reasoning behind that, or do you think it's just kind of coincidence?
I think there's some geographic reasoning there. I think that obviously we respect your program a ton, and it's a good test for us. Whenever Bill Self schedules, the smaller conference, non-conference opponents, he tries to get the upper echelon ones. And so, obviously, based on the last meeting a couple of years back, when the Bison came in and gave Kansas all they wanted and more, it's a good test. It's a game that typically when you play it, and then you look back on it 3 months later as your strength of schedule and RPI and BPI and all those different metrics are being looked at for NCAA seeding, it's usually one of those non-conference games that ends up looking good that you played them. So I think that has something to do with it as well. But excited to get him back in here. I didn't get to call the last one because we had football that day down in Lubbock a couple of years back. But I know Coach Self remembers it well. He was talking about it last night and how much of a fight they put up. And so definitely looking forward to it tomorrow night. And for Kansas, I referenced being defending national champs. 3 of the 5 starters are gone. Their top reserve is gone. Jalen Wilson returns. He's a preseason All-American. And you bring in the National Gatorade High School Player of the Year, Grady Dick. So there's a lot of talent here, but it's a different-looking team than the one that cut down nets back in April. You lose 2 NBA first-round draft picks, including a lottery pick. You lose, arguably the best sixth man in the entire tournament in Remy Martin. And then the guy that hit the game-winning shot, David McCormick, is now playing professionally in Turkey. So there's some big shoes to fill for this new-look Kansas team, and it is a pretty young Kansas team. Jalen Wilson's a 4-year player, but otherwise you're leaning on a lot of 18- and 19-year-olds. So it could be an interesting early season battle, no doubt.
Yeah, you mentioned that last time out for the Bison in Kansas, actually in that COVID season. You have memories about that one, but 65-61 the final. NDSU was right there and had a chance to win it in the last couple of minutes, but Kansas made the shots down the stretch to get the 4-point win. I wanted to go on the coaching staff with you first, Brian. Obviously, I think we all kind of know by now, our fans around here, but if you don't, Bill Self will not be coaching in this game, a self-imposed 4-game suspension to start this season, dating all the way back to the stuff way back in the day. So Norm Roberts kind of leading things on the bench, at least for the first couple of games, including this one coming up tomorrow night. Any differences there, or just because Norm's been around the program for a little while, it's not much, I guess, kind of same old?
Yeah, I think they're very similar, and obviously with Coach Self being able to coach the team on every day but game days, it's not like anything different is going to be installed or any different game plan is going to be implemented. He just can't be with them in the 24 hours that these first 4 games are being played. And so you lose Townsend, the assistant coach, in addition to Bill Self. So there's 2 veteran guys that are out in the midst of this self-imposed 4-game suspension. But they brought back Joe Dooley, who was a head coach at Florida Gulf Coast and East Carolina. Norm Roberts was the head coach at St. John's. So you got 2 veteran D1 head coaches that are helping make in-game adjustments or rally the troops if there's momentum swinging against you. We saw Coach Roberts take a timeout on Monday when Omaha had cut a 16-point lead all the way down to 7. And I think in very similar Bill Self fashion, he gets them an easy bucket coming out of the timeout, as Kansas always seems to do with what they scheme, and fuels their fire with whatever he said motivationally, because they rattle off a 10-0 run. And so, where you miss Coach Self on game day is he's so great at the in-game adjustments. He's so great at stopping opponent momentum because he's truly gifted at devising game plans to take away the best that the opposition offers. I think Coach Roberts, though, is so much of an extension of Bill Self because they've been together in one fashion or another since 1995. So I don't think it's a huge factor in this one. Is it a factor, Kansas versus Duke on Tuesday night? Same deal. I mean, Coach Self is going to be preparing them up until the point when they get on the plane and fly to Indianapolis. He won't be with them at that point. But it's the same game plan regardless. So, yes, you missed the Hall of Famer's voice in the huddle, and it would be a much bigger deal if this was over a longer stretch of the season, 2-3 months. But I think Kansas can weather the storm these first couple of weeks. But at the same time, challenging competition comes in with the Bison and then obviously Duke on Tuesday. So it's a pivotal stretch for Kansas to get off to a good start.
Hey, Brian, you mentioned it. Obviously, there's just one game into the season for both teams here. NDSU coming off a loss to Arkansas. But we referenced the last time these two teams played. And when you look at this NDSU basketball team this year and in the past when they've played before, what is it about the Bison that could give a young Kansas team trouble here early on in the year? And what did you see from them in Arkansas that maybe they could use to try and score the big upset?
Well, I haven't seen the film from the Arkansas game, but obviously was impressed with how well they competed versus a top 10 Arkansas team. A couple 17-point scores in that one that I think matchup-wise will present more than perhaps what Kansas saw versus Omaha. They'll certainly have more on the glass and in the post than what we saw the other night. Omaha didn't have a true five-man presence, and so Kansas at times got numerous second and third chances on the offensive end because I don't think Omaha was nearly as stout in terms of defensive rebounding as what we'll face going forward, even on Thursday night. So that's going to be big. But no doubt, to see how well the Bison competed just in reading about the game, and the fact that it was ultimately an 11-0 run by the Razorbacks to finally get some separation, but a 7-point game early in the second half. That's the type of scare that Omaha put into Kansas back on Monday when it was 7 points early in the second half, and we needed a 10-0 run to finally get breathing room. And Omaha's obviously picked 5 spots further back than the Bison are in that preseason Summit League poll. I do think Omaha is going to be a better team than what a lot of folks anticipate as you guys get into league play and start to face them. They've got 10 new players, and so very different group than the 5-25 team that Coach Crutchfield inherited. But at the same time, you guys were picked significantly ahead of them for a reason. And like I said, I think that the battle on the boards and interior post presence will be much more so than what Kansas saw the other night. But definitely, mindful of some of the great battles they've had in recent years that have gone 30 or 35 minutes, or in the case of a couple of years ago, 39 minutes before the Jayhawks finally pulled away. And so definitely, I think that'll be something that Norm Roberts uses to motivate his guys, and Coach Self is talking about in the days leading up as well.
It's kind of interesting, Brian. Again, Brian Hanni, play-by-play voice for Kansas, joining us here. You mentioned Omaha, and I agree with you. I think they're going to be better. I respect Coach Crutchfield, what he's got there. I know the staff, some of the guys on the staff, too. Kyan Brown, a former assistant here, is actually on staff with Omaha. But I do think they'll be better. There's actually 3 new staffs on the men's side of the Summit League this year, which is kind of strange. But taking a look at Kansas again, that first game against Omaha, you mentioned Jalen Wilson, one of the big-time returners. I think he had 9 points in that game. But I want to look at Grady Dick, one of those young freshmen, All-American, McDonald's All-American players. I believe 4 of 6 from three-point land. Had a bunch of points in that first game. His kind of debut out there looks like to be one of those really good players again from the state of Kansas as a McDonald's All-American second-teamer.
Yeah, he turned in what some were debating is arguably a top 2 rookie debut performance in the 20 years with Bill Self era. We've had Xavier Henry go for 27. Quentin Grimes went for 21 on opening night against Michigan State, 6 threes. A guy named Josh Selby, who played just one season here before going to the NBA, he had a 21-point game in his opener. But Grady's was so efficient. He was 9 of 13, 4 of 6 from 3. We knew that he was special in shooting the ball, but he's becoming a more complete player on both ends of the floor here in the early goings of this season, and that's something that all freshmen have to adjust and work on when they come in and play for a guy like Bill Self, who commands so much defensively on that end of the floor. But he was a high-flying, three-point shot-making superstar on Monday that had the crowd just absolutely in awe because he's 6'8", tremendous wingspan. His release point is above his head, and it's one of the quickest releases you'll see in college basketball. And so it's really tough to defend, so much so that a couple of our Kansas Athletics Hall of Famers were back watching a couple of practices a few weeks ago, Brandon Rush and Mario Chalmers, who were both on the 2008 National Championship team. And they said to Coach Self, based on where he releases it from and how quickly he gets it off, it's unguardable. You can't block that shot at 6'8", shooting above his head like that and as quickly as he does. And so it's quite a weapon. But we also saw him high-flying, rim-rocking. He had a couple of tomahawk jams where he cocked it back with the right-hand hammer that made some pretty amazing newspaper front-page photos down here. But he's definitely the high-flying guy that everybody's talking about as a new addition. But Wilson, to your point about Jalen, he just missed 3 assists for a triple-double. He had 19, 11, and 7. And he's a small forward / 4-man for us that really is built more like a shooting guard small forward at the next level. But he's improved his three-point game dramatically. He's also super active on the glass. And as we saw the other night, when he commands double teams, he can pass out of those double teams and find the open man, as he did 7 times over for 7 assists. And so we're excited to see him kind of take that next step like Ochai Agbaji did a year ago. Similar storyline that both players went through the pre-draft NBA Combine, got some constructive criticism on what they needed to work on and work out in their game to smooth out some rough edges, and then they went to work. The kids like to say they went into the lab for 6 months, and that's what Jalen Wilson did. He was a 26% three-point shooter a year ago. He's been shooting lights out in the preseason. He's taken his game to where he's scoring now at all 3 levels consistently and looks like the most assertive, confident player on the floor on either side. So Kansas will need big things out of him. And then DeJuan Harris had a career-high 8 assists the other night. He's a guy that's one of the most underrated players in America. Fran Fraschilla, in fact, called him that at Big 12 Media Day a couple of weeks ago in an interview with Bill Self. And I agree. Guy's not even on the Bob Cousy Award watch list, and he was the winning point guard on the national championship team. And it comes back as one of the top 10 players in the Big 12, and he can't get on the Bob Cousy Award watch list this year. So look for him to play a huge part in this one. And when you see him, he's not physically imposing or really that physically impressive. He's skinny, wiry kid, but he just makes all the little plays. And I know it sounds cliche to say he does things that doesn't show up in the box score, but it's so true. I mean, he'll slide in and draw that charge, or he'll get a deflection that leads to somebody else getting a steal and a run out. He'll do things defensively that force a bad pass where somebody else picks it off or forces a tough shot. He doesn't necessarily get credited for a block or a steal, but it was because of his presence that the defensive stop was made. He's about as much of a self-favorite, Bill Self that is, of any player we've had in the last 20 years, other than, of course, Tyler Self, Bill's son. So I think he really is on the short list of some of his favorite guys, and it's because he does all the little things. He's earned everything that he's ever been able to accumulate in his basketball career. Nothing was given to this young man. He came through difficult circumstances growing up to be here, overcame a lot academically to get eligible, and now he's a first-team All-Big 12 academic guy. And I really think, even though he's not it yet, he's going to be a household name by the end of this college basketball season. So look for DeJuan Harris, a kid they call Wando because he kind of plays like Rajon Rondo. Wando, Jalen, and Grady Dick, those are the 3 big names to file away. And then Kevin McCullough, a transfer from Texas Tech, all Big 12 defensive guy. He's another huge addition that could really throw a wrench in the system on Thursday night for the Bison because of how good he is defensively.
Brian, I wanted to switch gears quickly, and you mentioned it at the top, though. We have to talk about Kansas football, and I'm probably stealing this question from my co-host.
Go right
Andy,
ahead.
But
right
I'm
ahead.
a football guy. I'm a former football player, and so I have to bring it up. Obviously, you get College Game Day down there. They get off to the hot start, struggle a little bit with some good teams there, and then get to score the big win against Oklahoma State. Just give us a sense of what it's like down there in Lawrence around this football team, and what would you say, what's the biggest key to this big turnaround?
Well, I think a lot of things kind of came together at the right time with the best coaching hire we've had since Mark Mangino. But part of it was this team did really well in the transfer portal. Part of it was they finally got caught up in a scholarship purgatory situation where we were operating 20 scholarships below the number for years based on a mess that kind of got unraveled during the Charlie Weiss era, and that really hamstrung coaches like David Beatty and Les Miles, and then it all kind of caught up. But then Lance Leipold has just installed a culture and a chemistry on this team with the players he's brought in and the players that have stayed that is very Mangino-like. The organization, the structure, the we over me. He's just done it as good as we've seen it done here in a decade and a half. And so it was kind of an aligning of all those things coming together at once. Top 25 transfer portal recruiting class. And then, to give a little bit of credit where it's due, some pretty dang good recruits and from the Les Miles era were inherited by this staff, and this staff has made them better, has made them, achieve their optimal potential in a short amount of time. But, to go back to where you picked up the story with the ESPN College Game Day coming to town, and then we lost a few games and all that. For folks that haven't followed it closely, the Hawks were 5-0. Their starting quarterback, Jalen Daniels, was number 6 in Vegas in the Heisman Trophy odds. And then on that same day that ESPN College Game Day was here, he suffered a significant shoulder injury and hasn't played since. And so when we went through that 3-game losing skid, you were dealing with a team that had just lost its leader and the most charismatic, most, exciting highlight reel material quarterback we've had at that position since Todd Reesing in 2008, 2009. And so it's been a while in getting over him, but credit Jason being the backup. He's made some big plays. The other day had a 73-yard touchdown run in the Oklahoma State game, and really happy for that young man who started 9 games for Kansas a year ago before Daniels took over and beat Texas in Austin. And now Daniels is inching his way closer to a return. So it's rare anytime we make a bowl game. This is just our 13th all time, but it's especially rare when we qualify for a bowl game with still 3 weeks to go. And so, there's still a chance for this team to go out there and win another game or two and possibly really make a splash in this second season of the Leipold era. But I know you guys are up there with national championship talk just about every single year in your neck of the woods, and football is king. But we've got more tradition down here than most folks would realize, with names like Gale Sayers and John Riggins and John Hadel and Aqib Talib and Chris Harris that have come through the ranks. It's just been a long time coming to get back to those days, 14 years between bowl seasons. And so a lot of excitement here in Lawrence. And for the first time in a long time, we're not talking about, well, thank goodness basketball season's here. Instead, it's like, wow, we get basketball and football going great at the same time. This feels like 2008, and that's really what everybody's been saying these last few months.
Raising national championship banners and getting ready for bowl games. Life is good down in Lawrence, Kansas right now for one Brian Hanni. Nice enough to give us some time. Brian, always appreciate our conversations, really do. Thanks for giving us a little bit of time, and I'm sure it was fun raising another national championship banner, but looking forward to this game coming up tomorrow night between the Bison and the Jayhawks.
I am too. It's going to be a great test for our guys, and we respect that program a ton, so can't wait to see what they bring in here, and looking forward to it. Thanks for having me on to preview it a little bit.
There we go. Brian Hanni, nice enough to stop by for a moment and give us some of his time, and very busy time for him with football, doing pretty well down there in Lawrence. A little different than the team NDSU beat a number of years ago down there.
2010.
I
was a red shirt.
Yep. You on the
trip?
trip?
I was a true freshman, but I redshirted that. No, I was not on the trip.
Didn't think so.
No, but not there.
A little different than the team the Bison beat.
Just a little bit.
But
better. He just mentioned they were coming off a good couple of years, a good stretch of years, and then just it hasn't been the same since.
No.
And as a Cornhusker fan, which you so politely brought up yesterday, thank you for that, by the way, Andy. I feel their pain because Nebraska really hasn't been. They were pretty good in 2010, I believe. They went to the Big 12 championship, and it really hasn't
been the same since.
Anything since.
Been a lot of different coaches. Hasn't been the same, though.
Different coaches, same result. They got to a Big Ten championship. I forget what year it was, like 2012, and got absolutely destroyed by a Wisconsin team that was only there because Ohio State was ineligible, I believe, was the story
Something
there.
like that, yep.
And Wisconsin shouldn't even been there, and they won like 70-10. And I'm not exaggerating. It was like legitimately 70.
I can tell you've gotten over it, though.
No.
Gotten past it very well.
I mean,
doesn't still relive it every single day.
No, I don't. I'm already.
I do the same thing with the Vikings. I can't talk.
I'm in that fandom already where you're just like, you've hurt so much at this point where you just move on. You just expect it.
What we love, though, is NDSU championships, national championships. And I got a good chance again this year to raise another national championship banner. Our road to the ring, next opponent in line for that one is going to be Southern Illinois, obviously. Our road to the ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. They have a long history and reputation for quality workmanship and rock-solid pricing. Whether diamond engagement rings, custom jewelry, or repairs, let Brenda and the team at Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry create a legacy for you and your family. We'll take a break, come back, talk with our game week sponsor, Hoffman Trucking, on the other side.
where the bison roam. Bison 1660. Here on Bison 1660, we love delivering the latest bison news, but we also love our studio home.
Back inside our fantastic studio. You can't beat this one, folks. We love this place.
Now our home has a new name, the Therrelson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Live shows and the latest coverage of NDSU athletics.
Director of Athletics Matt Larson joining us. Head coach Matt Entz with us in studio.
It's all presented by Therrelson Ethanol, helping North Dakota lead the energy revolution. Join their growing team by visiting TherrelsonEthanol.com.
Homewood Suites wants you to feel at home. This upscale extended stay brand understands that being away from home can be challenging. So Homewood Suites in North Fargo has designed their amenities to make life easier for you. At Homewood, you can relax in a variety of suites with full kitchens, complimentary hot breakfast, outdoor grills, and recreational areas that make stays more familiar. When you need to be away, but you still want to feel like home, choose Homewood Suites by Hilton. Find out more and book a stay at HomewoodSuites.com.
Bourbon lovers are a distinctive group, embracing the differences from other spirits, all while expecting the rich variation of a good whiskey. That's why the Fistful of Bourbon folks, who have over 100 years of whiskey blending experience, are born to serve to those lovers of good bourbon, creating the masterpiece of blending 5 distinct bourbon whiskeys, sweet, balanced, and floral, with notes of cinnamon and licorice and buttery toffee. Fistful of Bourbon delivers a smooth, rich, full-fisted flavor like all top-shelf bourbon whiskey should. See it all at fistfulofbourbon.com. Please consume Fistful of Bourbon responsibly.
Need holiday cash fast? Corwin Auto will put a little extra jingle in your pocket this holiday season. Corwin Auto wants to buy your used vehicle and will offer more money than ever to buy it. Bring in your vehicle to any Corwin location and have it appraised. Get an instant offer and walk away with cash on the spot. There has never been a better time to sell your vehicle and get top dollar for it. So let Corwin Auto help stuff your stocking this season. Stop by any of the 4 Corwin Auto locations today.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
As you get going on your Tuesday, going to be slightly breezy conditions, winds of 18 to 25 miles per hour, a 50% chance of some precipitation, mostly going to be in the form of rain. Highs in the low 50s and a low tonight in the upper 30s.
This weather update brought to you by FM Truck Sales. If you're looking for good, clean work trucks for any size job, check out FM Truck Sales in Moorhead. FM Truck Sales is locally owned with a great staff. Check them out at fmtrucksales.net.
Are you an electrician? Are you looking for a change? JDP Electric is looking for commercial, industrial, and service electricians. JDP is looking for both journeyman and apprentice electricians. You could start your career today with a family-owned and operated business who's been serving our community for over 20 years. Full-time positions available with great pay and benefits. Call 701-232-1991 or email info@jdpelectric.net. Start your new tomorrow today. Come be a part of the JDP difference.
Hear that? The herd is headed your way. You're hearing from the insiders right here on Bison 1660.
Just about 11:40 on the program on a Wednesday hump day edition for you on the Insiders. Andy Rickoff, Kyle Emanuel, and Micah Bindi with you inside our Therrelson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Very excited now to be joined by a couple of great friends of the program and sponsors of all of our game week coverage of NDSU in Southern Illinois. That is Hoffman Trucking. Kurt Walde and Trevor Moneylaws of Hoffman Trucking joining us here in studio. Fellas, great to have you again. I was over at your guys' place about a year ago talking with you and on Facebook Live, but now we get you inside our great studio here.
Yep, it's great to be back, Andy.
Yep, good to be back. Yeah, what do you guys think of the studio? First time here, right?
No, second time.
Second time here.
Yep,
Okay,
yep. Beautiful.
Inside.
In studio last time too.
Yeah, this is great to have you guys back and talking about Hoffman Trucking again. I know our copy points, people that send us stuff to talk about for you guys. We're talking mostly about open positions for you, which is a good thing, right? You got some positions to fill. You got stuff going on at Hoffman Trucking, and you're looking for more people to join the team.
Yeah, we're excited to look for new drivers coming on, and we have lots of opportunities with new equipment in our pneumatic division, our over-the-road division. Several just great opportunities. Also, mechanic technicians looking to bring on some people may be looking for a change, a different location. We have multiple locations in Fargo, Jamestown, Tioga, North Dakota, and Douglas, Wyoming. So if somebody wants to get out and about, there's opportunities at all those and to rotate back through. As drivers, we just look to get guys home and the miles they need in new and late model equipment.
Yeah, no, Trevor, that was something we talked about a lot, and you guys take pride in is if you want to be a family person, you kind of want to be home during the nights, every night, you have routes for that. If you're someone that's like, hey, I don't have a family or I want the long hours or the long hauls, you got all different routes for different people out there.
Yeah, we'll tailor a schedule to work with the driver. We really will. We're flexible. We know everybody's got families and commitments at home with their children and other things, and we just want to be that company that people can say, hey, Hoffman's going to get me home. We're going to have a great paycheck, and I'm going to drive new equipment. And that's where we're at. We've seen tremendous growth this year with those principles, I guess, and it's worked for us, and we hope to continue it in the future, I guess.
Yeah, you're tough enough to drive yellow. Hoffman Trucking, a Jamestown-based distribution company, has some openings you might be looking for. If you're looking for regional, over-the-road, or oil field work, they want to talk with you. Drivers must have at least 18 months Class A driving experience. Correct, Kurt?
Yeah, and we're flexible to look at some training. So, if you want to inquire, we have great, you can go to hoffmantrucking.com or contact our office, and they'll get you lined up, even if it's a little less experience. We look at each individual. Many people maybe don't have as much experience, but worked on a farm or have more driving experience than before they had a CDL. So we always take those things into consideration, and we look for drivers for maybe it's a winter seasonal things or a weekend, certain days of the week. We run 7 days a week, but if you want to work the weekend or part-time, those are also opportunities just to keep the trucks and the commodities and products rolling down the road.
You guys have both mentioned new equipment there as well. What are some of the trucks you got? What are some of the models for those that maybe know a little bit more? They're wondering, okay, what am I getting myself into? What kind of equipment do you guys have on staff?
Yeah, we've been very fortunate the last year and a half as some equipment and supply chain issues have been a challenge, but our way we work with our network dealers, we have new Peterbilts, Kenworths coming in. We have more coming in before the end of the year. Most of our trucks average age are 24 months or less. Try to accommodate everybody. We have generator units on, cab comforts, creature comforts. We have a few day cabs we've started for the ones that are home every day and most nights. So we got 5 or 6 new ones at the dealerships in Fargo right now, getting ready to hit the road and ready for some new employees.
Yeah, especially with some of these supply chain issues. That's great to hear that you guys are fully stocked up with some great trucks and great equipment over there. Hoffman Trucking again, looking for you right now, not just driver positions, but also mechanics. If you want to turn wrenches, they have mechanic positions open as well. Offer fully paid single benefits, 401k, and also a sign-on bonus. Trevor, you guys got some great benefits over there at Hoffman.
Yeah, we truly do. Weekly pay is a big deal for a lot of people.
Yeah. Not once a month.
Yeah, or bi-weekly. I mean, it's weekly every Wednesday. We have payroll. We have 4 different companies, so we have payroll every day of the week for the most part. But
I'm sure somebody's on you about that.
Well, probably more Kurt.
Okay, fair enough.
No, I take the other complaints, I think so. But no, it's been good. We've had a good run here. I personally have truly enjoyed working for Kurt and Hoffman Trucking, and I think it's a fabulous place to work. So.
Yep. You guys got a spot in Fargo it's over by the Flying J and everything, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
And due to growth this past year, we're looking to establish a home here in Fargo,
Cool.
A terminal of some sort within the next 12 to 18 months. So there will be more growth in the Fargo area too. And as most people have seen our trucks on the road, they're bright yellow trucks. That's why we,
tough enough to drive yellow.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, people see us, and we get calls all the time about that. So,
Can you talk about that a little bit, Kurt? Yeah. Maybe building a terminal here in Fargo. Have you seen that across the country? Where Fargo's kind of in the middle of the country, obviously upper middle, towards the north side, but it does seem to be an area people are going towards the west coast. It's a good little area to stop, and that seems to be kind of growing the trucking industry around this area.
Yeah, we look to opportunities of where great employees, and if it helps attract more employees to be based, we found that with office and driver staff, and we, being a North Dakota-based company, and the yellow thing we brought on, about 13, 14 years ago, and we are proud of our high visibility. It means you stand out if you do something wrong, but it means when you're doing stuff right, you're also noticed, and it's been a good thing for us, and we look to expand here in the Fargo area and make more of a permanent base, as we have terminals in other states too, and so just make it more of a secure location for everyone.
So you mentioned the yellow trucks, and I can't help but notice there's a bison on your logo. Was that done on purpose? Or as a former NDSU guy, I have to ask the question.
So that comes back when I started the company in 1999. So we've been around for a while, and we're in Jamestown, Buffalo City. Been Bison fans all our lives.
Yep.
Growing up in the Jamestown area, Marion, North Dakota. But the yellow kind of all work together, and so it fits right in with what we do and matches and
say it's not just a coincidence.
Yeah,
wink,
like
wink.
it.
There you
I
go.
like it.
I like it too, which is one thing we like about Hoffman Trucking. Again, I want to make sure you mention this too. 1 F and 2 N's. Hoffman Trucking. HOFMANN. Trucking, HoffmanTrucking.com if you do want more information. You can also look to call as well, 701-252-7220 for some of these great positions that are open for you guys and available. Again, can you just, Trevor, go through the company once again a little bit? If you're looking for one of these jobs, if you're a trucker out there, mechanic, Hoffman Trucking, what do you guys stand for? What are you guys looking in terms of an employee?
We're just looking for, I guess, a dedicated professional employee is what we're looking at. Somebody that carries himself well and wants to, I guess, ride for the brand. I mean, that's what it's all about, is believe in the company, we'll believe in the employee. So we want quality people.
Kurt, like you said, since 1999, you guys have been around for a little while. You know what you're looking for, and you've just kind of established yourselves in this region.
Yes, we've been working hard at it, building it up, and we think a lot of things we've done right and learned from things that maybe we weren't always mistakes along the way, but we just try and work it every day, and our company being, if you're a new driver, I want to greet you as much as the drivers that have been with us 20 years. We have some long-term great employees, and that's what's really helped us grow, and they're our best, a good way of advertising and getting out there. I tell people just talk to our employees, and that helps things move right along and makes people feel comfortable to give us a chance. And we appreciate anybody willing to give us an opportunity to prove ourselves to be a great team to work for.
Again, local, regional, over-the-road, or oil field work. They want to talk to you. Also, some mechanic positions open at Hoffman Trucking. HoffmanTrucking.com. That's HOFMANN Trucking.com. 1 F and 2 N's. Also, 701-252-7220. They want you to have 18 months Class A driving experience, but they can work with you guys on that. As you guys said, you can work a little bit if you don't have 18 months, but prefer that. And then also, you want long hours, you want stuff over the weekend, just during the week, you want to be home every night for your family, they can work on that stuff for you as well at Hoffman Trucking. Trevor, Kurt, always appreciate our conversations. Thanks for coming in once again. Great to have you in studio. What are you guys looking for the Bison game this weekend?
Looking for a win.
Yeah, right. Close out the season strong. A couple of wins here. You can be a top. Maybe not top 2, need some help on that, but top 4 seed, right?
Yeah, a win here would be good.
Yes, especially against Southern Illinois, right?
Yes,
yeah. Very good team. And then the next week, too, against that team up the road. I think Kyle definitely wants to win. We all want to win there.
Excited about that one.
Yeah, Kyle,
win.
Might have to have you on a little bit
Focus
to talk about
on
that
this one first.
One game at a time, as they would
Still
say.
got a little bit of the player mentality.
Yeah, coaches speak at the very least. Trevor, Kurt, appreciate you guys coming in.
Hey, thank you very much for having us.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. Wrap up hour number 1 of the Insiders next.
You're listening to the Insiders on your home for NDSU sports. Bison 1660.
Talking about your farm finances shouldn't be intimidating. This is Scott Zlondik with Cornerstone Bank. We're a locally owned and managed community bank. We know the ins and outs of ag banking, and more importantly, we know what it means to be there for our customers. Find the right person to talk to you about your finances, someone you feel comfortable with, someone you trust for the advice and direction you need. Come to Cornerstone Bank.
Cornerstone Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Toss out the medicine bottle. Can't remember if I took my meds today or not. Get rid of the pill dispenser. Another chore I have to do every week. Take advantage of strip packaging. MD Pharmacy in Fargo. A totally customized, sealed daily pack of your medicine in the doses just for you. Take the guesswork and time out of getting your prescriptions. Since it's local, you don't have to wait for days for your medication to arrive. Let MD Pharmacy inside the 13th Avenue Hornbachers help with your prescriptions.
MD Pharmacy, 701-364-5690.
In the market to own your own place? Live in the most epic condo in all of the metro at Envy at the Lights. With options like 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units available, enjoy the best view in all of West Fargo. Epic condo owners can enjoy no lawn care or snow care in a privately managed building with a community room and fitness room. It's sophisticated luxury that you own. Set up your tour today with Taryn at condosbyepic.com and purchase the best unit for you. It's time to love where you call home.
Code Green is coming alive! Bison football remains on the road this weekend to play the Southern Illinois Salukis. Our coverage starts at 7 a.m. with kickoff scheduled for 1 p.m. on Saturday. Coverage of NDSU versus Southern Illinois is brought to you by Hoffman Trucking. Are you tough enough to drive yellow? Hoffman Trucking is a premier dry bulk carrier in the Midwest region. It's tough to drive down the road and miss our signature yellow trucks. We currently have some job openings. Check us out online at hoffmantrucking.com.
For decades, Nodak Insurance Company has been serving our state's residents in good times and challenging times. We come together for the greater good, from simple acts of kindness to company-wide efforts that make a difference in our community. It's who we are, rooted in North Dakota and ready to serve when it matters most. Nodak Insurance Company, agents with answers.
This is Menli from Healing with Hyperbarics, and I want to talk to you today about how hyperbaric oxygen can help you if you've had radiation in the past. Radiation saves lives by killing cancer cells, but the damaging effects of radiation to the tissues continues. This leads to poor blood flow in these tissues, causing a range of problems, depending on which tissues are radiated. If you've had radiation in the past and struggle with any post-radiation injuries, book an appointment with us at Healing with Hyperbarics to see how hyperbaric oxygen can help you heal.
This is NDSU head men's basketball coach Dave Richmond, and you're listening to The Insiders on your home for NDSU Athletics, Bison 1660.
Welcome back to The Insiders. Andy Rickoff, Kyle Emanuel, Micah Bindi. Just rolling right on through another edition of The Insiders on a Wednesday. Great to talk with our friends Trevor and Kurt from Hoffman Trucking. Kyle, you were saying during the break you thought about it for a little bit, being a trucker. You like being alone?
I don't mind being alone. And
listen to the radio.
Listen to the radio, listen to music, listen to podcasts. I've definitely considered it. But I'm also at the point where I've considered about everything. So
fair enough.
But
I'd appreciate if you stay with just for at least the rest of the week. But
yeah.
Then maybe pursue it if you want to.
Yeah, you can get that commitment.
Gotcha. Appreciate that.
At least till tomorrow. I got some things to do on Friday.
That's like if I had won the lottery, which, by the way, our company pool, we did win $8. So that's a win. That counts, right? It's a win.
So you each got like a quarter?
No, we're just rolling it into the next one.
Reinvest in it.
Smart.
Exactly. So, but like I said, if we had won the $2 billion Powerball, I was like, okay, I'll call the game on Monday. No guarantees after that.
So then what would you do?
I don't know. But we would have figured it out. I wouldn't have retired. I'm, again, just not even 29.
You got to do something.
You got to do something. Maybe I would have driven trucks for Hoffman Trucking.
There you go.
1 F, 2 N's, HoffmanTrucking.com. Our corporate game week sponsor of all of our coverage of NDSU and Southern Illinois. Also, today's show brought to you in part by The Spirit Shop. You need to stock up for all your favorites for watching football. The Spirit Shop has you covered with a great selection of beer, wine, and spirits at the best prices, plus great weekly specials. Spirit Shop off 13th here in Fargo behind Shields Home and Hardware. Make sure you go over there for all of your game day essentials. You might be going to the Spirit Shop to stock up on your favorites for watching the Minnesota Vikings because they are 7-1. I have not forgotten about what you said during August. A little bet, a little wager on the 16-1, which was a joke, and now it's still a joke.
14-3, actually.
Well, 14-3. Yes, you gave me a couple.
Because that's what Colin Coward said. And
Colin Coward was
looking
14-3.
like a genius right now.
Sure is at this point with the Vikings at 7-1, and now they travel to Buffalo. And Josh Allen, a little bit of a UCL thing in the elbow. He's not practicing today. Told he's probably going to play, but if he does sit out, it's going to be for a week. And this is the week the Vikings play the Bills. If you are a Vikings lineman, linebacker, whatever, if Josh Allen's playing, are you hitting him a little harder? Are you maybe pushing the elbow a little bit? What are you doing if you're a Viking?
Look, it's mentioned. You don't try to hurt someone intentionally, but it's one of those things like, hey, if you got a shot from the right side and you happen to hit his elbow, okay, we won't be mad about it. I mean, it's
extra swiping down on that arm a little bit.
Maybe you go for it a little bit more than normal. It's something that it's talked about. Now, it's not like it's the key to the game. It's not like the major point in your game plan. But, yeah, I've definitely, throughout all of my year, like if someone's got a little They got some type of ding. They got an injury. It's something. It's on the back of your mind now. There's a lot of things that happen once you get on the field, but for sure it's been talked about within that Viking locker room.
Go and try to hurt somebody, but hey, if you're going to play, once you're between the white lines, everything's fair game at that point.
And that's like one of the only parts of the quarterback left that you can still hit.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
When I saw that play, I was like, oh, here comes the NFL. They're going to somehow create a new rule where you can't strip the ball out at a certain point because you're injuring our stars and we need our stars in the field. So they're going to take that away too.
You can only hit from like mid torso to bottom of chest,
or once the throwing motion. Once he's in his throwing motion, you can't touch him.
Nope, just let him complete it.
Mm-hmm. You absolutely need to. Yep. By the way, NFL Network, David Carr, not Derek Carr, the current quarterback, but former quarterback David Carr on NFL Network. He predicted the remaining schedule for the Minnesota Vikings, who are 7-1, and this is what David Carr had to say about the final couple of months of the Vikings season.
Oh, I love it. Take the walk. Love making the walk. Tell me if you like this. I don't know. We'll find out if we like this. I don't know if Imrov's going to like this first one.
Dance.
Nope, I ain't going to like it. It's in Buffalo. Yeah, it's in Buffalo. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to help you out, bro.
Thank you, bro. There you go,
the Buffalo Bills can't just fall off the wagon completely. Josh is going to be okay. They're a good football team, especially there. All right, so they're 7-2. Right? This is crazy. As you look through the schedule, there's a couple hard ones right here, but these are home games. I've played in Minnesota. Imrov, you've been there. Yep. Not easy, man. That place is crazy. I'm going to say they beat the Cowboys, right? I'm going to also, you like that? I'm going to say they beat the Patriots. I like it. Jets, right? Zach Wilson, that's tough, man. It's loud, right? There's a lot going on. I can't believe I'm doing this, but they're 10-2.
Man, they got Quentin Williams on that D-line in New York. He balling. I'm just saying.
I understand, but my goodness. So, the Detroit Lions in Detroit, I'm going to say they win that game. They're going to beat the Colts.
And they're going to beat Saturday on Sunday.
That's happening right now. It's 12-2. They're going to play the Giants. And the Giants, of course, the Giants are going to beat them because the Giants are a football team.
Stop being a homer, David.
I'm sorry. At the Packers. Who are the Packers? We don't know. Right? Let's just say, all right, just because Aaron Rodgers, maybe he wants to do something crazy, they figure out.
It might be Jordan Love there.
It might be Jordan Love. Exactly right. 12-4. Play the Bears in Chicago. I'm going to say they win that game. 13-4. Minnesota Vikings are 13-4. Who would have ever? I mean, that's
I'm okay
crazy,
with that.
Right? You look at that. There's a couple games on there that you say maybe the Cowboys, right? But it's in Minnesota.
There you go.
13-4. I would still win our bet.
You would at that point.
So I'm okay with that.
But it's one game, and hey, you win that Packers game, they'll beat the Giants, right? That was just one David Carr kind of threw away, basically, a throwaway game.
Danny Dimes ain't doing anything against this purple defense. Can't say purple people eaters because that's not what they are.
Darius Smith.
But this defense is nasty now. It's nasty. Daniil Hunter is coming back to form. Zadarius Smith is still a dog.
Patrick Pearson's having a little bit of a rebirth year as well at cornerbacks.
I wouldn't be surprised if they won this weekend. If Josh Allen doesn't play, I would not be shocked. In an ugly, 21-20 game or something.
They won't get any credit for it if they win.
Well, it doesn't matter.
But
you don't need credit.
Yep.
They only look at your record when it comes to the playoffs. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, I mean, you look at me and Chris talked about this Monday. This is a tough 4-game stretch because you got the Bills, Cowboys, Patriots, Jets. Patriots are kind of, you don't know what you're going to get, who's going to be playing.
That Jets game is actually tricky, I think.
The Jets.
Quentin Williams, Ahmad Sauce Gardner is a dude at corner.
I was just going to say
against JJ.
He's going to be going against Justin Jefferson, and I'm not going to say he's going to shut him down, but he's got to be the defensive rookie of the year at this point, right? I mean, he's been impressive as a rookie in that cornerback position. But after that, you could look at every game after that Jets game. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, should be a win. Mm-hmm. Should be.
I like the line of beating the Colts. He beat Saturday on Sunday. It is a fun one.
It's a good one.
He beat Saturday on Sunday. But that's the schedule the rest of the way. So we'll see what happens for the Vikes. 7-1. I'll take it right now. 16-1 still in play. That division, basically a 5-game lead at this point. Would not have thought that when the season started. There's a lot of things in the NFL we would not have thought when the season started. One thing we would have thought is that Southern Illinois would be a pretty good football team. They are right now. They got a chance to get to the playoffs, but they got to win 2 in a row. Their play-by-play voice, Mike Reis, joins us on the other side when we come back for Hour 2 of the Insiders on a Wednesday.
Fall is about tradition. Tradition on the field with Bison football and tradition in the cooler with Bud Light, the official beer of the NDSU Bison. When you're enjoying a clean sack or a perfectly timed touchdown pass, let the crisp, cold, clean taste of Bud Light tackle your taste buds. The only bigger crowd pleaser on Saturday is another Bison win. Whether it's in the tailgate zone, a couch gate at home, or inside the Fargo Dome, the Bison go best with Bud Light, the official beer of the NDSU Bison. Please drink responsibly, never drink and drive.
What's worth seeing in your life, and what's seeing worth? This holiday season, Vance Thompson Vision invites you to give the gift of sight to someone you love. With the most experienced doctors, advanced technology, and world-class care, you can make the region's most advanced LASIK procedure this season's best stocking stuffer. To learn more about changing lives through the gift of LASIK, call 877-522-EYES or stop by Vance Thompson Vision today.
Location, location, location. If you are a business owner looking for your next commercial space, Epic Companies has the best options for you. Whether you are looking for 1,000 square feet of commercial space or 50,000, Epic Companies has what you're looking for. We have properties in West Fargo, South Fargo, downtown Fargo, and Moorhead. Move-in incentives are currently available for a number of our properties and can be discussed with Zach, our Director of Realty. Visit EpicCompaniesND.com for more information. That's EpicCompaniesND.com.
Hi, this is Cody Mout. After a long week of practice and a W on Saturday, I like to slide into Hurt 'n Horns to see my friends, family, and teammates. Join your friends and family at Hurt 'n Horns for all NDSU home and away games this season. Stop in on Sundays to watch your favorite former players and my teammates play in the NFL too. Hurt 'n Horns is conveniently located on 12th Avenue North across from the NDSU campus. Your number one destination for burgers, beer, and Bison is Hurt 'n Horns. Go Bison.
Farmers, are you tired of getting docked at the co-op? IntelliFarm's Bin Manager can help. Our state-of-the-art bin management system can help you control your grain. Our systems help monitor your bins and will automate the fans and heaters to ensure the proper moisture content and help you get the highest yield possible from all your hard work. With Bin Manager, you can make your grain work for you. For more information, call today, 1-833-BIN-MNGR. That's 1-833-246-6647. IntelliFarms, know your grain.
Truck headquarters. Gateway Chevrolet has new Chevy trucks arriving daily. Buy your new Chevy Silverado at Invoice. Yes, Invoice pricing on new Silverados with a fresh look, new interiors, and larger screens with easy-to-use technology. Save thousands on new Chevy Silverados with 4 different motors available. Dynamic fuel management, Bluetooth, backup camera, Apple CarPlay, and more. Save thousands and enjoy the smooth ride in your new Chevy Silverado from Gateway Chevrolet. Find new roads. Details gatewayfargo.com.
KQWB West Fargo, KPFX HD3 Kindred, and K224FD Fargo. Bison 1660, powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
We are Buzzworks. And here's what you need to know.
New research provided by the NFL and the NFLPA shows that there isn't a significant difference in the number of non-contact injuries sustained on artificial turf versus grass. Many players this season have called for an end to artificial turf, but Cowboys owner Jerry Jones says the league has no plans to do so. Colts owner Jim Irsay said the team is not tanking for a higher draft pick, calling the notion, quote, the most absurd thing I've ever heard, end quote. The Steelers signed kicker Matthew Wright to their 53-man roster off the Chiefs' practice squad. That means Wright has to be on Pittsburgh's roster for at least 3 games. Starter Chris Boswell is dealing with a groin injury. Bears quarterback Justin Fields named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Bengals running back Joe Mixon, the Offensive Player of the Week in the AFC. And WNBA star Brittany Griner has been sent to a Russian penal colony to begin serving her 9-year sentence.
You've got the insiders.
How you play today, from this moment on, is how you will be remembered.
That's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face.
Bringing you what you need to know and a whole lot more. Topics you care about, guests you know, and the conversations you came to hear. The Insiders are presented by Proseed. Need seed? Think Proseed. Now, here are the Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders. The Insiders.
Insiders.
The Insiders.
Andy Rickoff and Bison great Kyle Emanuel.
Hour number 2 rolling right along for you on a Wednesday here on the Insiders on Bison 1660. Andy Rickoff, former Bison great. Kyle Emanuel. What was it? Bison above average?
Bison above average, Micah
above
Bindi.
average, Micah Bindi. I'll go with myself above average, too. I mean, I didn't really do a whole lot at NDSU. Student radio, that kind of stuff. Kind of fun. Worked into a fun career here at Bison 1660, but definitely not like the Buck Buchanan Award winner over here. The big shot to the right. And then Cole Jurek was just a solid contributor?
Yep.
That was what you guys dubbed him as?
Yep.
Okay,
there
we go.
I need Rob
Solid
to start
contributor.
saying that when he tosses it down to him on the sideline.
A solid contributor on the broadcast, Mr. Cole Jurek, who is still alive after his trip down to the South for LSU, Alabama.
Yeah, I think he had fun.
I think he did. It was a great game. That was a pretty good one to get
Couldn't
to.
have asked for a better one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's jump over right now to start off hour number 2. Go back to the Epic Companies hotline. Talk with the play-by-play voice for Southern Illinois on the football field. None other than Mike Reis giving us some time here today. Mike, always appreciate it, sir. I know it's a busy time for you, so thanks for giving us a little bit of your time. What is it like right now in Carbondale?
Well, the weather's beautiful. It's about 75 degrees today. This will be the last day, Insiders, for good weather. Then we'll start looking a little bit more like Fargo come the weekend. But still not bad. 40s on the weekend, but sunny and warm today.
What's the precipitation look like for the weekend?
Oh, I think it's just going to pour.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Looking forward to it. Snowy conditions, Snownami that we had a couple of years ago. That is obviously something that will play a factor into the game, but this is a Southern Illinois team that is going to be basically fighting for their playoff lives, Mike. I mean, win these last 2 games, you're clearly going to be in the playoffs, no doubt about it. If you lose one of the last 2, you're squarely on that bubble again, a spot they've been too many times the last few years where you got the committee holding your life in their hands. That's kind of the task again here this year for the Salukis. Is that how you see it?
Absolutely. I think if they lose one, then they're done. I don't see them getting in at 6-5, fellas. I just don't. I don't see it unless the Northwestern win carries more weight than it probably should. Northwestern has not had a good year, but Southern is the only FCS team that's won a game against a Power 5. And so, and the Salukis have been in the playoffs the last 2 years. And so 3 years ago when Southern didn't get in, I think a lot of us felt like it was a combination of Southern's schedule and its record and the fact that Southern had no recent history in the playoffs. It had been 2009, I think, was the previous time that Southern was in prior to 3 years ago. Now the Salukis have a little bit more integrity, a little bit more of a reputation recently, and maybe that'll push them through at 6-5. But Southern sure can't play like that, and I'm not optimistic that that'll happen. They'll have to beat NDSU at home, and then they'll have to go to Youngstown and win, and neither are simple tasks, of course.
Mike, help our listeners get a sense of this Southern team, because I feel like they're a team that's hard to kind of figure out. Obviously got off to the rough start, giving up 64 points to Incarnate Word, losing next week, but then win 5 in a row, and everyone's like, okay, Southern is a team that we thought they would be in the preseason, but now they've stumbled back-to-back weeks. What's kind of been the differences in this team with those big runs of losses and then wins?
I think when the defense shows cracks in the armor, then Southern can't win. I believe the Salukis can score on anybody, but certainly there was no defense in the Incarnate Word game. Southern was caught unawares. Southern was caught feeling too good about itself. Southeast Missouri, that loss has proven to be a better loss as the time's gone along because they've had a very good season, and they are projected as the OVC champion. But the defense got locked in, and the Salukis were only allowing 80 yards rushing per game during that winning streak. And the defense, especially the run defense, when Southern has lost, they have been poor. Northern Iowa threw it well last week, 2 weeks ago, but also ran it well. And then at South Dakota, when it got hot in the dome, and South Dakota with a backup quarterback playing and motivated by his play, Southern's defense wore down. So I think when the Saluki defense especially can't stop the run, the Salukis are in trouble. And, of course, that's really a foreboding situation to be in with the Bison coming in. It's definitely the defense, because the offense has been consistent. They have put up yards and points. They have not turned it over, but the defense, save for the winning streak, has not been good enough.
Again, Mike Reis, play-by-play voice for Southern Illinois, here with us. Offensively, Mike, you guys have been putting up a ton of points, and we went over this a little bit yesterday and earlier in the week with Nick Baker. He's a quarterback that's been around. He's a veteran, seasoned guy. It's kind of hard to trick him because he's seen a lot of pictures, a lot of pre-snap and post-snap pictures. He's 16 touchdowns throwing, I believe just 3 interceptions, and got a whole host of really good players to throw the ball to as well, including, obviously, those 2 Cox kids. Deontay and Avante Cox have been putting up some really good numbers this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Baker's a different quarterback than you guys have seen before, too. He's much more polished. He is much more interested in the underneath game. Southern slant game is among the best in the league, and teams have done a really good job the last, 2 out of the last 3 weeks in stopping, 2 of the last 3 games in stopping that. Baker is a much more polished quarterback. It isn't all the deep ball. And the Coxes have a lot of yards after catches, and they do catch the ball. Southern is strong at tight end, especially at run blocking. They've got a lot more done with the offensive line in the situation it's in than probably they should have. The Salukis can play with anybody in the league on offense, and this might be the one year. You always have to use the word might when you're talking about playing with NDSU, because sometimes your hopes don't match the reality. But it just feels like, having seen Southern play against the Bison before, this team, even more so than the team that beat NDSU a few years ago in Carbondale, has more of an ability to score on NDSU and hold on to the ball and not get caught in the Bison's game where you're down 21-7, and that's manageable, but in reality, you're down 41-7. And they can run it. They've got 3 different running backs who can run it. Baker can run it, too. They can control the ball. They're scoring on possessions. He's not throwing the ball away. He and the Northern Iowa quarterback are the 2 best quarterbacks that we've seen this season. Southern will not play SDSU this season, and he's had an excellent season.
Mike, you talked about the defense, and they've struggled at times. But one thing they do really well is get after the passer. And I believe maybe it was last week they were 1st in the country. I think they're 4th in the country now in sacks going throughout the season. Give us an idea of what they do. Are they rushing forward and just have some studs on the defensive line? Are they bringing pressure? How are they getting after the quarterback so well?
I would say 60% of them come from the down 4. They get to the quarterback on 3rd down. They get to the quarterback with corners on blitzes, but I would say the majority of them are coming from the front 4. It's been interesting. They've made big plays with sacks, but again, those came in the winning streak. And in the winning streak, Southern did a very good job of stopping the run overall, but especially on 1st and 2nd down. And now you can rush the quarterback if you want, or a guy like Mikel Calhoun, who used to be a starter, but a linebacker who is now a 3rd down rusher because he can get to the quarterback on a blitz. Now he is a more effective player. But that hasn't worked the last 2 weeks. They've been shredded in the pass game, too, but frequently it's 2nd and short, unlike during the winning streak. And so this will be interesting. Getting sacks against North Dakota State has not been something that Southern's been able to do much in the league and in recent years. And so we'll see if that changes on Saturday. But you're right; they are formidable. When they know a pass is coming, they can get near the quarterback.
Every once in a while, Mike, there's a player on either your team or an opposing team that seems like, man, they have been around for a while. And that player is Javon Williams Jr. I think we've talked about him for a decade, it has seemed like. He's still on this team and still doing the Wildcat stuff as well. Still a great receiving back, great running back out of the backfield, still a load to bring down. What has his career kind of been like for you to watch up close? And in a game where, again, they have to have it, they're coming off a bye as well. Do you expect to see a lot of those kind of trickeration type of plays with him on the offense?
Well, the trickeration, as you say, has become more normalcy. You're going to see, 1 or 2 of those games, 1 of those, 2 of those in this ball game on Saturday, and he's been here 5, and you might as well get ready. He could be here next year too. Whether he leaves after this season and tries to make money at the sport, I think still to be determined. But this season, they've used him more as a receiver, fellas, and I think that's been the difference this season. And he can make a difference, and he has made a difference. He has thrown the ball more from the Wildcat than he has. Not a lot, but it doesn't have to be the double pass if the Southern's going to throw the ball in the Wildcat. He can throw the ball too, and perhaps Baker would get mad if I said this, but perhaps Williams has the best arm on the team. He has made some terrific throws. So I think certainly you can look for that. And Southern hasn't won very many games when Javon Williams hasn't played well. The one thing that he doesn't do, you asked about his, watching his career develop. And they played him only 4 games the first season. They wanted him to get himself straightened academically and get himself used to college, which he did. They played him the minimum games. But they ran him more north and south the first year. And then the second and the third years, not only have teams stopped him, fellas, but he hasn't run as hard, frankly, running north and south, running between the tackles, whatever cliche you want to use, running off the guards, running power, running all those things. When he gets east and west now, and the Coxes block for him, and they're very good at blocking, and Southern's tight ends are really good at blocking, now he can do some things. And Southern's found a way to get him to the edge a lot more often. Some RPO stuff out of Wildcat. He's a much more diverse quarterback when he gets into shotgun and they're playing the Wildcat. First and second down in the red zone, he'll be the quarterback. And he's a more varied quarterback, more diverse quarterback than he's been in certainly the previous 2 years.
Well, Mike, always appreciate our conversations with you, sir. It's going to be a great game. Looking forward to it. Obviously, the last time the Bison were in Carbondale, it was a little bit of a lopsided affair. I don't think it will be that way this time around. Expect a very close and competitive game. Thanks for giving us a little bit of time. I know it's busy for you with travel as well, so enjoy the crossover season, my friend, and we'll talk to you again down the road.
Very good. Thank you, Insiders. Appreciate it.
There you go. Mike Reis, play-by-play voice for Southern Illinois. Nice enough to give us some time on the Epic Companies hotline. How about that? He's got another year of eligibility?
I didn't know that.
He won a lottery or something? Crying out loud.
Well, I think we saw him early, right? Like, he was doing the Wildcat a ton with a lot of success.
I know it was a COVID year, an injury year. God,
we'll just get used to it because for the next, still a couple of years, everyone that was on a roster during that COVID season has an extra year of eligibility. So seems like fifth-year players anymore. It's like, oh, you were barely there. You weren't there 6 years? Oh, barely played.
Yeah. You only were at college for 4 years?
5 years?
Oh,
what?
Jeez. You didn't have the 25th year, for crying out loud? That's what it seems like all these days. But he's a really good player. And I do expect him to do some of that Wildcat stuff. I think Nick Baker's really good, so you don't want to take the ball out of his hand too much.
But in the red zones were really because like he said, I didn't know he might have the best arm on the team, but like he's a capable thrower as well.
8 of 13 this year.
You get down there with the +1 running game in the red zone where things speed up, everything your fits have to be perfect, your coverage, you don't have you can't make a mistake. You can't make one wrong move there. Like, things have to happen quickly in the red zone. That's where he really becomes a viable threat. And obviously, they do some other things with him as well down the field. But look for, you're watching the game, listening to the game, Javon Williams in the red zone, probably going to be something you hear a lot.
Yeah, and again, they got everything to play for. This is a team, Nick Hill always gets his teams up, especially for this game against NDSU. Yep. Every team gets up for NDSU, right? It's NDSU's coming to town. Let's knock off the juggernaut, knock off the defending champions. But this team especially, they get a little extra something, it seems like, when NDSU comes to town. And with everything on the line, I expect them to play their best game of the year. No doubt about it. And that's a tough team when they're playing well. They've got some serious talent on offense.
The old from the Water Boy, Brent Musburger, and it's like, last game of the year now, Brent can't hold anything back. I know it's not the last game, but essentially this is. I mean, they have to treat this as
they're in playoff mode.
This is a playoff game. This is a playoff game, and if we don't win this one, then next week, like you said, they do have an FBS win against a Big Ten school. Does that hold more weight? We'll have to see how the bubble shakes out and what all the resumes are there, but if you're Southern, you don't want to put anything to chance. You got to win these two.
And honestly, the better chance for them is probably beat NDSU, lose to Youngstown,
Oh,
because you have a better resume building win there.
And
so if you lose this
Youngstown-
one, you really just don't have that shot to make the
Exactly,
playoffs.
because Youngstown's not a bad loss. I mean, it's not a great one, but it's not a bad loss. But the NDSU win would obviously carry more weight.
Clearly, so this is the season for Southern Illinois. I expect them to pull every single stop out, and NDSU's got to be ready for them all. That's the challenge ahead of both Tyler Roll and David Brong, and then of course Matt Entz, the head coach for NDSU as well. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Plenty to get to in hour number 2, including some conversation about turf or grass fields that Micah Bindi is very passionate about. That and a whole lot more in the second hour of The Insiders.
This is The Insiders on your home for NDSU sports. Bison 1660.
We take great pride in really doing all the research and the work behind the scenes to make sure that our products just work.
We have our own staff member that helps pick the hybrids and the varieties that work in our area. It's meant for you, not for somebody 200 miles away.
We test our seed locally. We produce our seed locally, so we get to see our production fields, where they need to be, and if they work there.
Need seed? Think ProSeed. ProSeed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
I'm Emily. I had my LASIK surgery here at Vance Thompson Vision. Being in the healthcare field, the highest technology is huge for patients. For me, that was the leading choice and why I chose to go with Vance Thompson Vision. Life without glasses in the operating room has been incredible for me. There's no more fogging. There's no more having issues with my glasses sliding down on my face. It's been great for me.
Call 877-522-EYES to schedule a free consultation.
The Bison Hotline postgame show is broadcasting live this year from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo. Come see the Bison 1660 crew live after every NDSU football game and register to win prizes including Bison 1660 t-shirts, tickets to upcoming games, and a whole lot more. Plus, take advantage of the great food and drink specials at Applebee's. Bison Hotline broadcasting live after every NDSU football game from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo, right across from the Fargo Dome. Horns up.
Homewood Suites wants you to feel at home. This upscale extended stay brand understands that being away from home can be challenging. So Homewood Suites in North Fargo has designed their amenities to make life easier for you. At Homewood, you can relax in a variety of suites with full kitchens, complimentary hot breakfast, outdoor grills, and recreational areas that make stays more familiar. When you need to be away, but you still want to feel like home, choose Homewood Suites by Hilton. Find out more and book a stay at HomewoodSuites.com.
With the rising threat of cybersecurity attacks, you need to ensure your business is fully protected. Data loss, ransomware attacks, and other breaches can disrupt your business and damage your reputation. Consolidated Communications Cloud Secure Service safeguards your business from these attacks by securing your network, data, and applications. We proactively monitor your security to prevent intrusions before they compromise your IT systems while protecting your staff in the office or when working remotely. Visit consolidatedcommunications.com/cloudsecure to protect your business.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
Been a rather breezy day in the FM area, and it's going to stay that way tonight as well. 25-mile-per-hour wind gusts expected throughout the night. 60% chance of some precipitation, most likely going to be in rain, and a low tonight in the upper to mid-30s. This weather update brought to you by FM Truck Sales, your one-stop shop for good, clean, quality used trucks, including over-the-road, dump trucks, farm trucks, and more. FM Truck Sales in Moorhead. Check them out for good, clean trucks for any size job. Online, fmtrucksales.net.
You may not have heard, but the Insiders is now under new management.
Did you see the memo about this?
Here's Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
And I'll go ahead and make sure you get another copy of that memo. Okay?
On Bison 1660.
That used to be an Andy and Kyle rejoin back in the day, too. Micah slipped up. Blame it on him. Andy Rickoff, Kyle Emanuel here. That's okay. It's one time.
I wouldn't have slipped if I was on grass.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's a
I
good,
would
that's a
argue
good
that.
one. That is a good throwback right there to our conversation during the break, actually. Andy Rickoff, Kyle Emanuel, Micah Bindi in here with you. Today's episode of The Insiders brought to you in part by Red River Commodities with Sun Butter. Sun Butter, delicious ingredients and simple ingredients and delicious flavor, free of the top 8 food allergens, and grown in the tri-state area, produced locally at Red River Commodities in Fargo. Make sure you get your Sun Butter today as a alternative to things that have the allergy ingredients in them. Sun Butter is delicious, and I definitely enjoy the chocolate Sun Butter. But we're in here inside the Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center, and we were talking during the break about some articles that have been out, and this has been a kind of an ongoing discussion for years. Every once in a while, a player will say something on social media or in a press conference, or like, I hate turf because it causes injuries. And someone is a non-contact injury, someone pulls an Achilles or an ACL tear or even an ankle injury where something happens and someone's out for a month plus. This year, though, it seems like the players are voicing their opinion a little bit more about that, and it's become more of an issue, especially the last couple of weeks. Now the NFL has come up with different articles with studies showing, like I said earlier, Ian Rappaport tweeted one out, where the difference between players who are on injured reserve with injuries to lower extremities, that's what we're focusing on here. Obviously, it doesn't matter if we're playing on grass or turf for a separated shoulder or something, but lower extremity injuries was minuscule, very minuscule, 0.44 to 0.42, very minuscule. Then the NFLPA comes out and says, well, what about this gap here where the difference is really quite sizable? You've got a difference of like 25 injuries throughout the course of the year because they're on turf, and that tends to be where injuries seem to happen in players' opinions. I'll divert to the guy who played in the NFL, played on many of those fields, both grass, natural surfaces, and turf fields. Did you ever notice much of a difference out there?
So the thing is, and I'll talk about what I liked and what some of my teammates liked. The thing is, when you're standing on turf, just standing there, like if you're on the sideline or just playing on turf, on field turf, it does take a little bit more of a toll, especially the older you get. I think that's why it's the NFL players complaining and not college players as much. The older you get, you just feel it a little bit more the next day. I played with a lot of guys when we had to practice on field turf, which wasn't a lot, especially in San Diego. We didn't even have it. They did not like it. They felt like the next day they felt stiffer. They felt like, their joints and everything. I'm not even talking about injuries, just in general, your overall feeling, your overall health. They just didn't like it as much. Me, personally, I didn't mind turf. Obviously played on it a ton in the Fargo Dome. Played on it a lot in almost every single team we played against. Now, South Dakota State still had grass. Almost every single team we played against had field turf. And I liked it from the standpoint of you knew what you were going to get. I didn't feel like I was going to slip as much, and if you did, the footing was true, because I have a little bit of PTSD from some really bad grass fields, South Dakota State being number one. Their grass was terrible. I would take being a little bit stiff the next day over playing on the ankle-high grass.
Well, think about Frisco, too. People
Frisco was
the grass
horrible.
There.
It looks nice. It's terrible. Soccer stadiums, for whatever reason, I don't know the science behind the grass, soccer stadiums do not hold up. They just don't. You see it tears. You fall, you slip. Talk about injuries, groin injuries, pulling muscles. That can happen on grass. I've also played on some really good grass. Iowa State stands out to me, hands down. In my senior year, we played at Iowa State. I thought that was the best grass I've ever played on. The footing was true. You got all the great benefits that you want from grass. So I don't really feel strongly about it one way or another, because I had a lot of teammates that did not like turf. I personally didn't mind it. I have not looked into the numbers as far as injury. I didn't personally experience an injury on field turf compared to grass where I thought, oh yeah, if I would have been on grass, this wouldn't have happened. But obviously guys have, and it's become a conversation. I know Micah is passionate about this, apparently, for a guy who never played on it. He is very passionate about it, so we can let him...
basketball player, probably never stepped on a turf field in his life, but
apparently he thinks grass is much better.
Sent me an article about it last night, and he was just yelling.
Have you
via
seen
text.
I'm just saying, my argument is not necessarily for the injuries, but there's times where grass fields are horrendous. Look at the Arizona Cardinals. They practice in there during training camp. I've played there in the preseason, and it's horrible.
Soldier Field's known for having terrible grass.
Bad. I was talking to you guys during the break back when the Raiders played in Oakland, and they had to piece it together because that was also a baseball stadium. Hated it. It would tear. The footing wasn't good. You'd slip and slide. Didn't like it. But again, I understand the argument from the others. The older you get, it's harder to stand on field turf.
I just look at it like the risk and reward. Wouldn't you rather slip a little bit more? And everybody has the same footing. Then people have certain cleats on for grass and for turf, but everyone's playing on the same field. But wouldn't you want less injury risk on a grass field that might have more gives than you? Yeah, you're slipping occasionally, but then you're taking less of a chance at getting a foot injury, ankle, knee, especially when it can be as serious as an ACL, which could hurt your career and just derail it the rest of the time.
I think like Kyle said, also if you get some really bad... No, weather is weather. You can't really control it.
But that's another reason why I like field turf. If it's raining on field turf,
nothing's going to happen.
Pretty much fine.
I mean, it's going to be really slick and slippery,
but it's not as bad.
But some of those bad, even if it's not raining, some of those bad fields, Soldier Field comes to mind just because I'm a Vikings fan. I've seen a lot of games there where the turf comes up in clumps sometimes.
Yep.
You can tear a groin pretty easily if you slip. You slip the wrong way, you can tear your groin. You can do other things, quads, hamstrings. That will send you out for a couple months
unless
too.
the numbers are and I know there's conflicting reports, right? Like they're piecing and taking, we'll look at these years. Well, and then everyone else say, well, look at these years. Unless the numbers are crazy different as far as injury, again, this is just me talking as a player, as a guy who played on them both. I would take field turf and the slightly increased chance of getting injured over playing on really terrible grass. Now, again, if it's nice grass, some stadiums have really nice grass. I'm all for it. Let's play on that. But there's still some that I don't want no part of. I don't care what the weather is like. I don't care about the injury risk. But again, that's just me talking. I know there's plenty of other guys that played in the NFL that would say the opposite. They hate turf. They don't care.
Anecdotal evidence from both sides of it, for sure.
Yep.
But I want to look just like I got the update last night that this article came out from ESPN saying NFL data shows recent injury rates are the same on grass and artificial turf amid calls for the league to convert all surfaces to grass. It just pissed me off. I'm like, when you have players that are rambling on Twitter, and like Devondre Campbell from the Packers, for example, he tweeted, "This is 2 weeks in a row we've had players get injured on turf fields. I think it's time y'all take some of the money y'all make off of us and invest in grass fields." I feel like that's a fair point. The amount of money that they make, like Iowa State doesn't make as much money as the NFL does, not even close. So you think you can invest that money into, and then every NFL team has great grass. It should never be as bad as it is in Chicago.
No, it shouldn't be. I hope money isn't a factor. I mean, I hope it's not, because it shouldn't be. I don't know what – I'm trying to think of why the NFL wouldn't want to go to grass, and it must be because of the money. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not cheap to change over your entire field, but it's not – in the grand scheme of things for the NFL, they can easily afford it.
Yes.
So if it really comes down to that, like turf is that much worse, and the numbers show it, I'm fine if they all go to grass, but it's got to be better than in Chicago. It's got to be better than it was back in Oakland. I'm trying to think of like even the Cardinals. Like I said, at times there could be some things done differently there, because when you get too many teams playing on it over and over, practicing on it, like it just doesn't hold up.
Don't you want, like, even if it's not a great improvement, it's just that slight improvement. NFL keeps talking about safety with head injuries. Well, why not protect the whole body? Even if it's maybe a minuscule amount, you're still doing your part in protecting your players with grass fields. Even if it is a minute amount that you're improving the safety of the knees, ankles, foot, lower body.
But then, like, those injuries are still going to happen. They're going to.
Yeah, it's the NFL. It's football.
Yeah.
But if you can do something to
it depends
help that
how
out.
much. Like, not that it's not worth it if you can save one injury or something like that. But you're not. NFL owners aren't going to just change everything over. I personally would love grass fields. I think every sport should just be played on grass. I like the way baseball is always going to be on grass. MLB, no soccer stadium, professional soccer stadium should ever be turf, in my opinion. Play it on grass. I like stuff being played on natural surfaces. That's just me as a sports fan. But everything's kind of gone towards turf, and I think that's okay too. Especially, obviously high school and college, you're in certain areas of the country, you just kind of have to use what you can use to be able to play the game. But NFL, they have enough money you could heat the turf up, you can do whatever you need to make sure it's playable out, or the grass up to make sure it's playable. But we'll see if there's actually enough data to make a change here.
Like I said, I don't feel passionate about it one way or the other. If they decide to go all grass, I'm fine with it. Yeah. I'm good with it. I'm just saying, like, personally, I didn't mind playing on field turf, but a really good grass field is better. I will give you that. But there's not a lot of them out there, and they tear up. Like, I think about Denver, and I don't know if they heat up their grass or not, but like, we played there late in the year. You get into January where it starts to get tough to grow grass, and now that's not very good either.
Frozen.
So the weather has to be a factor in some of these teams deciding not to go to.
You played on quite
field.
a few grass fields, now I think about it. Isn't Kansas City the same way?
Kansas City is grass, yes.
Yeah.
Theirs was nice, too.
Yeah.
Theirs was always – I don't know what they do differently.
Oakland, Kansas City,
Kansas
Denver.
City was nice. Denver was nice at times. I'm trying to think. I played on quite a few.
The Raiders still play on grass?
Raiders still have grass inside. Yep. They do kind of what the Cardinals do, where they pull it in and out for every game.
There are definitely enough people in the world that focus just on that, like, okay, how can we make this grass better? Like, you have people all over the country that take their time and study this and like, okay, how can we make this better?
You've got grounds crew people.
You have grounds crew people that are professionals at it.
I believe Iowa State's like, what's the term? They're grass.
They probably even got majors and studies
or whatever.
for it.
Yeah,
NDSU has a minor for it.
Their students like took
Sports
care of the
field management or something like that.
Yeah, turf management, whatever. They were the ones that took care of that field, I believe, down in Ames.
There you go. So you feel better?
I will feel better once the NFL starts agreeing with me
because
I'm the
you won't feel better until there's change.
I am tinfoil hat man. I am a conspiracy that the NFL is putting out data that they cherry picked, and that is what I'm sticking to.
Is your reasoning though it's all about money? You think that's why they don't want to do it, or why
money and just a hassle? It's just like, oh, we have to change everything to field. We have to make this because I feel like turf.
Yeah, but they'd put it on the teams.
The initial cost of turf, yes, it's big, but then you don't have to really maintain it that much. Grass, it's a constant cost.
The maintenance of it, yeah.
So that's where I would see like, oh, I don't want to pay that, even if I can save less than $1 million a year.
I think it's more so actually the hassle of having to change it all. Like, the money is whatever. You write a check. They write checks all the time. Those owners.
Field turf only lasts about 10 years anyway.
Yeah, so
you still have to replace that.
See if anything happens.
Still some maintenance involved.
You really got onto this a little too late. We're past election day and everything. You could have made this like your ticket to run on to be like NFL commissioner or something.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I'm for the players, Kyle.
Yep.
I'm on your side.
Oh, and I'm not. Yeah.
Lieutenant Commissioner over here, Kyle Emanuel, on the ticket with one Micah Bindi. That'll do it for this segment. We'll take a break. We'll come back. How about National Signing Day? A few things happening for some of the teams around NDSU with National Signing Day today. Go over that stuff when we come back here on The Insiders on a Wednesday.
You've got The Insiders on your Bison Nation station, Bison 1660.
Bourbon lovers are a distinctive group, embracing the differences from other spirits, all while expecting the rich variation of a good whiskey. That's why the Fistful of Bourbon folks, who have over 100 years of whiskey blending experience, are born to serve to those lovers of good bourbon, creating the masterpiece of blending 5 distinct bourbon whiskeys, sweet, balanced, and floral, with notes of cinnamon and licorice and buttery toffee. Fistful of Bourbon delivers a smooth, rich, full-fisted flavor like all top-shelf bourbon whiskeys should. See it all at fistfulofbourbon.com. Please consume Fistful of Bourbon responsibly.
Chris Hoffman is the founder and owner of Bonanza Agronomy Services, an independent consultant and seed provider. Chris, during these times, why is it so important to be working with an independent agent like Bonanza Ag?
When you're an independent, you literally cry when your customer cries, and you win when your customer wins. Because my company doesn't survive without farmers, period.
Make your operation run and perform better today. Meet Chris and Bonanza Ag on Facebook or at bonanzaag.com. That's bonanzaag.com. Access pays in many ways. Access Clinicals in Dilworth is now recruiting healthy men and women 18 years and older for various upcoming research studies. You can earn extra money without all the extra hours. Help yourself while helping others and get paid to do it. Clinical research studies help reduce the high cost of prescription drugs. Please visit accesspays.com or call 218-284-AXIS today. Remember, when you need extra money, Access pays.
Our Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. NDSU football remained in the win column this past Saturday after running over Western Illinois 56-17. 10 different backs combined for 453 yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground. Kobe Johnson rushed for a 47-yard touchdown on the first play from scrimmage for the Bison. Tamarick Williams led the team with 120 yards on 12 carries and 2 touchdowns. TK Marshall logged 118 yards on just 6 carries and also had 2 touchdowns. Code Green had 4 interceptions in the game, including a pick 6 by Marquise Siegel. The Bison improved to 7-2 overall and 5-1 in Missouri Valley Football Conference play. The Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. They have a long history and reputation for quality workmanship and rock-solid pricing. Whether diamond engagement rings, custom jewelry, or repairs, let Brenda and the team at Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry create a legacy for you and your family. The Bison remain on the road to face the Southern Illinois Salukis this Saturday with kickoff scheduled for 1 p.m.
As the days get shorter and the temps get a little cooler, now is the time to start thinking about projects for Rick Electric in your home this fall. Hey, it's Chris Hansen. Rick Electric has been proudly providing services in the Fargo-Moorhead area since 1964. Right now's a great time to schedule your winter projects, like having a Generac whole house generator with automatic transfer switch installed, or more outlets for Christmas lights. Rick Electric, 233-6194, or go to rickelectric.com.
Take us with you wherever you go with the Bison 1660 app, powered by Thunder Seed, first in the field. Now, back to the Insiders.
1240 here on the Insiders. Today's show brought to you in part by Men's Hair Company. Only place to go for haircuts, waxing, shaves, beard care, and more. 5 Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo locations to choose from. Go with the home team for your haircuts this football season. Online at menshairco.com to schedule your appointment today. When you schedule an appointment, you actually get an appointment. You don't just wait in a long list and in a queue. You actually get an appointment so you know when to show up and who's going to be cutting your hair at Men's Hair Co. Went there about a week and a half ago. And now I'm wearing a hat because I'm too lazy to do anything.
Same.
But, well, you got Shanley Golf on there.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm trying to rep NDSU a little bit.
I don't want to go back to this turf argument because their listeners are probably done with it. But I have to. I just thought of this one thing because I actually Googled it and I was looking up how many teams. So it's exactly half have grass, half don't. Do you remember
NFL.
What about in the NFL? Do you remember the Commanders' grass and how it destroyed RG3's knee?
Oh, true.
The Commanders' field is terrible. That is a definition of bad grass. There's been a couple quarterbacks that have blown out their ACL. There was RG3 and there's someone else, I believe, right at. Alex Smith.
Well, yeah.
That might not have been because of grass.
Was it non-contact?
RG3's was, I believe.
If it was non-contact.
Alex Smith was definitely contact.
Alex Smith was contact.
Yeah.
But I thought there was one other one that tore their ACL. I'll think of it.
Quarterback?
Joe Burrow. Didn't he tear his ACL in Washington?
That was contact, though. He was sacked on that play.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got nailed, like diving for the end zone. Chase Young went right through his knee.
Yeah, shoulder through the knee. So that one was contact. Like,
well, do we have to change pads now?
Yeah. Going down.
How far are we going to go to save the ACL, Micah Bindi?
Two-hand touch.
Two-hand touch.
Let's go two-hand touch.
Turn it into.
Save the bodies.
Especially only on the quarterback side. Everyone else can be tackled.
Yeah, exactly.
Quarterbacks flag football on them. That's the way it goes, especially if you're a defensive player, I'm sure.
All right, I'm done with the turf.
You done with
Sorry,
it? Okay,
I'm
we're
done.
moving on from it?
Yep.
Fair
moving
enough.
on.
How about we move on to National Signing Day for many athletes across the country, not just for NDSU, but across the country, National Signing Day for a lot of those winter sports athletes. What was National Signing Day like for Kyle Emanuel? Do you remember? Way back in the day, a little youngster.
It was pretty normal, pretty regular, not too eventful. I believe I faxed in my signing, the official letter. Faxed it in, took a staged photo, I think maybe even the day before or day after signing day. And,
do you have a lot of people in like your graduating class at high school?
Nope. Oh, and my class was like 110. I was the only one that was playing athletics at the next level, so it was pretty non-eventful. Not quite like some of these kids have today. No news cameras, not a lot happening there in Schuyler, Nebraska back in 2009, I believe. No, it would have been 2010, February of 2010 when I signed.
Okay. And obviously the times are a little bit different for football, too, and those have changed since you signed with football and their signing day periods. But I want to go through a couple of them on the basketball side here. First off, NDSU men's basketball does add a couple of players here on National Signing Day. First off, Derek Doucette, guard from Minot, North Dakota, been a phenomenal player for a number of years out there for the Magicians. And he's a 6'4 guard. Again, kind of fits the type of what Dave Richmond has gone after. Taller, lengthy point guard, someone that can handle the ball a little bit. Was led Minot to the North Dakota Class A state title as a junior in 2021-2022, earning state tournament MVP. First team All-State honors. He has averaged 13.5 points per game for his high school career and added 8 rebounds at 56% shooting as a junior going into a senior year here. Couple of thoughts from Dave Richmond on it. Derek's infectious energy and passion for life and the game of basketball really stood out to us in the recruiting process, and those things will make him and his family a great fit for our Bison family. His relentless motor, along with his size, strength, and skill, will allow us to use him many ways on both ends of the floor. Dave loves versatility, right? 6'4" guard, can guard the 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, a little bit of a stretch probably, but you can do some defensive versatility stuff with them. Be positionless on the court. That's what everyone wants to do, especially in the college game right now. And someone that can shoot it pretty well. I know it's high school. I get it. But 56% shooter, that's a really good number. I know he can shoot the 3 also extremely well. That's something they've been looking for is those 3-point shooters because you got guys down low for the next couple of years, and Grant Nelson and Andrew Morgan need to surround them with shooters, and that's somebody from in-state, once again, that they're pretty happy about. So
It's that perfect size where it's like once you're above like 6'2", that 6'2" to 6'6" range, that's where like that range where you can guard multiple positions. And that's just where basketball's heading at all levels. When you can guard multiple people, create mismatches, that's just where it's going.
No, really, yeah. It's the unicorn of sort, right? Like that's why Grant Nelson is such a good player because he's like 6'11", but when you have a guy with that kind of size and that kind of height that can go down low and post up a smaller guard, could go out to the wing and hit a three. I mean, there's just, like Micah said, like that's why you've kind of seen the disappearance of the big man a little bit, especially at the NBA level. Because if you're a 7-foot center, you still better be able to shoot the three. Like that's what the NBA has gone to, and that's obviously what you want and what you look for is some of those versatile players when it comes to basketball.
Talk about backing people down on the post. That's something Sam Griesel did all the time, right? Now Sam was 6'6", 6'7", so a little bit bigger than Derek is here, but you get those mismatches, you can put your point guard on the post and let them back in there. If you got some size and some strength, that's definitely an area that they might look to in the future. And then Eli Bradley as well, a player, another guard coming from Las Vegas, Nevada, an area I don't believe NDSU has gone into before. I have to look into it a little bit more. But a 6'4" guard from Bishop Gorman High School, not Bishop Sycamore High School. Not the fake stuff from a year ago, right? Nobody bring that up. But Bishop Gorman High School, which is a very good high school out in that area, shot 47% from three last year as a junior. Again, that's an incredible number. High school, we get it, but that's an incredible number. 47% from deep, averaging 10 points and 3 assists per game. Again, 6'4" guard, helps every way like that. Helped lead Bishop Gorman to a 30-1 record as a nationally ranked school in high school, number 4 in the country, leading the team in three-point shooting. Some thoughts from Dave Richmond on Eli Bradley. Eli's genuine approach to life and all of his relationships, along with his ties to NDSU and the Fargo-Moorhead community, make him and his family a natural fit in our Bison basketball family. Eli has an elite skill set with his smooth lefty stroke, lefty on the team, lefty there, combined with his drive and his understanding of the development process, and his best basketball is ahead of him. So some thoughts there on a couple of the players that will be joining NDSU men's basketball. And quickly, I know we're not completely running out of time, but want to get to these ones as well. Women's basketball adds 4 on National Signing Day for head coach Jory Collins, who, by the way, will be on this station tonight. We'll be talking about these 4 individuals a little bit more in depth on the Bison Basketball Radio Show with the head coach Jory Collins tonight, with myself and the head coach from 6 to 6:30. So you can listen for more info on these 4 individuals that will be joining this Bison women's basketball program next season on the Coaches Show tonight. Again, that's 6 to 6:30. But they signed 4 different players. One of them, a pretty familiar name, I would say, Taryn Hamlin. Heaven Hamlin's younger sister will be joining NDSU basketball on the women's side. And got a couple other players coming in. Overall thoughts from Jory Collins says we couldn't be happier with our 2023 signing class. We have been working hard to continue to build our roster into the version we feel can help us win the Summit League. All 4 of these players will have the chance to make big impacts towards that goal. The size, skill, and athleticism are highlights of this group. We're also excited to have 4 players that grouped up and played regionally. We'll go through them here a little bit. I mentioned Taryn Hamlin, 5'9" guard, shot very well in high school. Grand Rapids High School, same spot as Heaven, 5'9" guard, 21.6 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, and 2 assists per game last season. 2-time Lake Superior All-Conference selection and 2-time All-State honorable mention from Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Obviously, that's going to be a special treat for that family and for Heaven to play with her sister for 1 year, because Heaven will be coming back next season, which is great news for that basketball program. And just going to be kind of fun. Not very often you get to play with a sibling, so see it sometimes in football. Haven't seen it really in any of the basketball teams. So I believe this is the first time on the women's side, in recent history at least, we have sisters on there.
Yeah, you'll see them having fun on the court together, whether they're on the offensive end, defensive end. But obviously, both sisters can shoot the ball. We know Heaven can shoot it, and that's great points per game in high school, averaging 21 in a senior season.
Sibling connection. No, you just know where the other one's going to be without even knowing, right?
Exactly. Avery Conan as well, another player coming in, is a 4-year letter winner at Montevideo High School in Minnesota, and 6'2" forward, height. Again, that's probably going to put her around 3rd tallest player on the team, 3rd or 4th tallest player on the team at 6'2", 19 points per game, 11 rebounds, 2.5 assists in her junior season, going into her senior season here. Totaled 1,700 career points and earned All-State honors in her junior season. Also a 3-time All-Conference selection in volleyball and track and field, so a multi-sport athlete there from the state of Minnesota. And a couple other ones, one from locally here in Fargo, actually West Fargo, Amirali Simon, another recruit signing on National Signing Day for NDSU women's basketball. 4-year letter winner at West Fargo High School, 6'1" forward, Class A North Dakota leader in points per game with 22.5 points per game, rebounds 12.5 in her junior season. She surpassed 1,100 career points and the mark with 1,157 right now. Horace, North Dakota native, first-team All-State selection in her junior season and earned second-team All-State honors back in her sophomore season. Been a very good player for a number of years on the North Dakota circuit. And one thing that's kind of interesting about that is if you look on the roster right now, currently, nobody from the state of North Dakota. So, and not that's a good or a bad thing, right? You find talent when you can find talent, but to get somebody from the area, I know that's also something that this state takes pride in, and have a player from the area that will be on the roster that will also be an area for NDSU women's basketball. So again, you can hear more about these players. One other one, you can hear more tonight, 6 to 6:30 with Jory Collins on the basketball radio show with myself. Abby Krasinski also joining this team, a player that I know they are very high on as well. She comes as a 4-year letter winner at Wayzata High School in Minnesota. That's down around the city's area. For those that don't know, probably about 45 minutes out of the cities.
Grant Olson alma mater right there.
There you go. Exactly. Darn right. 5'11" guard, averaged 14 points last year, 7 assists, 4 steals per game last season. She earned all-conference and all-state honorable mention honors during her junior season. A player I know they are high on for the guard position, but some more height coming into this NDSU women's basketball program. That is one thing you recognize very quickly when you see them right now, and you're going to recognize it a whole lot more in the years to come with 4 players coming in for NDSU women's basketball. There's some updates for you on both the men's and the women's side here on National Signing Day. We'll take a break. We'll come back, wrap things up for you next, and close out a Wednesday on the Insiders.
A sports talk station that Bison Nation deserves. Bison 1660.
When you say integrity, performance, and solutions, that covers a lot of ground, just like Legacy Seeds. They cover a lot of ground with championship-yielding soybeans, corn bred for this geography, sunflowers and canola from New Seed, salt-tolerant and soil-healing alfalfa, silage corn, and more. Legacy Seeds, Alice, North Dakota. Integrity in every bag. Give them a call, 701-689-6501. Legacy Seeds.
No one wants to think about it, but the cooler weather and cold morning starts are right around the corner. Get your vehicle ready at one of the 3 locally owned Jiffy Lubes of Fargo. Oil changes are the #1 maintenance item that's neglected. At Jiffy Lube of Fargo, it's easy. No appointment needed. Just drive up and drive in for your signature service oil change and a free charging system check to ensure your vehicle will be ready when you are. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, proudly serving the metro area for over 40 years, where you can do more in a jiffy.
Every fan loves an explosive play on the field when someone breaks free and takes it to the house. Take that feeling anywhere with the explosive taste of Bud Light Seltzer, the official hard seltzer of the NDSU Bison. Bud Light Seltzer is always the right call for game day. The bold flavor of the hard soda variety pack and the all-new seasonal apple slices flavors will definitely score points with your team in the tailgate zone or inside the Fargo Dome. Bud Light Seltzer, the official hard seltzer of the NDSU Bison. Please drink responsibly, never drink and drive.
In 1976, we witnessed the birth of a great company, Northern Plains Steel here in Fargo, a division of Owen Metals Group. After 45 plus years, we are still growing and stronger than ever while offering our highly valued employees great pay, great benefits, and advancement opportunities. Come join a company that rewards employees for a job well done. We are taking applications for human resource generalist and purchasing agent. To apply, go to jobs.owenind.com. That's jobs.owenind.com.
At Hansen Runsvold Funeral Home, one of the greatest honors I have is to be invited into the life of a family who has called on us during a time of need. It is such a blessing to be a part of a community that genuinely values a life well lived and the importance of honoring that life. Having been born and raised in Fargo, and now raising my son here, I have a deeper sense of what it means to be an active member of our community. The bonds we share, the stories we live, make us who we are. Hansen Runsvold. helping families look to the future with hope.
Protect your ag equipment with a Super Slide liner from Horn Plastics. Super Slide is a plastic, non-stick, self-lubricating, and seamless liner that's eliminated haulback. Super Slide is easy to install, available in various grades, widths, and thicknesses. Going on now, you can take advantage of Horn Plastics' year-end install special. Buy one install and get the second free. That's right, buy one, get one free. Save up to $1,000 by booking your install before December 31st. For more information, visit hornplastics.com.
The place you go for all your Bison news first. You've got the insiders right here on Bison 1660.
Final segment on this Wednesday edition of the Insiders. Next stop on this road to the ring for the Bison as they look to capture another national title down in Frisco, which, by the way, we've heard Frisco, not good grass, right?
No.
Yeah.
Good for soccer, not good for football.
Good. Yeah. See, Micah, your argument.
Micah, you can't dispute me on that because I played on it 4 times. It's
I looked at it. I didn't play on it, but yeah, we could see that, especially the Towson game. I remember that was
and I throw the Towson one out because
but that's soccer, doesn't count. Disputed.
They use some type of different grass. I don't know what they use.
Soccer's known for having kind of a shorter root grass, so it does tear up. Because again, we're not in soccer. You're not colliding and you're not 300 pounds or anything.
You're not pushing on each other. You might hit each other, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not the back and forth like there is.
Softer material a little bit, so it absorbs the contact of the ball bouncing or something like that too. So that's one of the reasons. I think it's one of the reasons some people think that championship game might move from Toyota Stadium. Too.
I played when I was with the Chargers 2 years. We played at the Galaxy Stadium.
Yep.
Soccer grass. It was different than the one down in Frisco, but still didn't like that one either.
But the next stop on the road to the ring for NDSU is Southern Illinois out in Carbondale. All of our coverage of the road to the ring brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. They have a long history and reputation for quality workmanship and rock-solid pricing. Whether diamond engagement rings, custom jewelry, or repairs, let Brenda and the team at Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry create a legacy for you and your family. And we're here with you live inside the Tharaldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Tharaldson Ethanol produces 175 million gallons of ethanol per year and roughly 400 tons of livestock feed per year. If you want to fuel your future and join their growing team, then view their open positions at tharaldsonethanol.com. I want to make sure we just went over some of the National Signing Day stuff for NDSU, and I was pretty sure on this. I always like to double check. I get in my own head sometimes. I knew Eli Bradley, Gus Bradley's son, actually. So that's the tie. You mentioned, Dave Richmond said, obviously, with his ties to NDSU and the NDSU family, this is a great fit. He's a really good player. Don't get me wrong. This isn't just, Gus Bradley's kid coming to NDSU. He's a very, very good player. But that's something that gave Dave Richmond an inside track because clearly Gus Bradley some ties to NDSU, and Eli Bradley, his son, will be a Bison.
Yeah, and if that it makes sense now. Everyone's like, Vegas. You went all the way down to Vegas. Well, Gus, if you remember, Gus was with the Raiders a year ago. His family. I actually got to talk to Gus when we traveled to Indiana State because he's now a coach with the Colts. His family stayed back. So, yes, his son still in Vegas and now happy to join or to welcome another Bradley to NDSU. Obviously, his dad is a legend here and done some really good things in the NFL. I got to play under him for 2 years. I love Gus. If you ever met Gus, his energy is just infectious, and I can only imagine his son is.
What was he when you were playing under him?
He was a defensive.
Was he D coordinator?
Yeah.
Okay. How was that?
It was great, man.
Yeah.
It was because you just heard so much about him my entire time here. It's like, NDSU is an alum that's in the NFL, and then I got to meet him at the combine very quickly, and then you just never expect that, right? You just you don't know what's going to happen, and then the fact that I got to play under him for 2 years. I loved Gus, and I loved his mentality. He really attacks. I'm not just saying he really attacks the other side of football. Everyone knows the X's and O's and the physicality of it, but there's the mental side is such a huge part of it, and he really understands it. And he understands how to motivate players.
Yeah. So Eli Bradley, the son of Gus Bradley, and we should make sure to mention Michaela Bradley as well, also an alumnus of NDSU. The son of those two coming to NDSU. So family affair. That's going to be a fun storyline. Maybe Gus makes some return trips, you would think, right?
Well,
when football season's done, whenever he's coaching. But
yeah, exactly. When football season's done, I have a feeling you'll see him up in Fargo a little bit more.
There we go. Looking forward to it. So that's some fun news on that front. Again, Bison Basketball Radio Show with the head coach, Jory Collins, tonight, 6 to 6:30. That will do it for the show today. Well done, Kyle. Appreciate you stopping in. See you at Sicky's tomorrow.
Sounds good. I'll be there.
Come ready to rip apart my top 15.
I will.
Yep. Okay.
I will.
Throwback Thursday tomorrow. James Hendricks Maneuver tomorrow. All at Sicky's. So stop by tomorrow at Sickies off 45th Street. Plenty of things to win, including tickets to NDSU and UND. Thanks to Mike Reis. Thanks as well to Brian Hanni for joining us. The voice of Kansas men's basketball plays tomorrow night. That will do it today. Come back again tomorrow, 11 to 1 on The Insiders.
This Thanksgiving, there's so much to be thankful for. Health, family, friends, and most of all, a roof over our head. Hi, it's Matt Lehman and Mike Walski from Fargo Roofing and Siding, wishing you and your family a season of thanks.
We want to thank all of the